Good evening, Clashers and Clashettes. Happy Monday.
Yay!
Coming to you live from NGE Studios here in beautiful Burbank, California. This is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. Representing Frozen Peak with the new legendary, I'm Christian.
And Builders Workshop, I'm Ella.
And today we are bringing you yet again the greatest Clash Royale duels you could find on the internet right now. You couldn't even, you gotta, this is what
Google
you get.
Google
Google
it, this comes up.
Yeah, this is here.
Yeah, so over the past few weeks, hundreds of thousands of players at home have been competing in our open qualifiers, which were going on all day today, to come to days like tonight, the Coronation event. 16 lucky people will move on to our arena battles, where then 8 will move on to the crown duels, and one amazingly talented, awesome player will win $15,000 out of a $100,000 prize pool and a trip to Supercell HQ.
Basically the Bobby Fishers of our time. That is what we are seeing here.
So great.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is Coronation Day number 10. We're at number 10 already.
Yeah.
Number 9 was just a few hours ago. Thank you all for watching this. Top 8 players now. We have 8 and more, and they are playing for first place, $2,000. Second place, $500. Third and fourth, $300. And fifth through 8th, $100 each. Now, before we take a look at who those 8 are, just a quick reminder of the rules here. Here at the Clash Royale North American Open, we run the standard tournament cap with the double deck submission. Each player must submit 2 unique decks to us, and by unique, we mean each deck is at least 4 cards different. To move on, it is very, very simple. As you all know, you just gotta beat your opponents with both of your decks before they beat you with theirs, and boom, you're one step closer to the top. Really, I mean, it's like, anyone can do it. No, not anyone can do it. These guys can do it. So let's take a look at who these guys are tonight. Up first, we have Mr. Manzab versus Aopa.
Then Epru versus Middle Sky.
Third is Marcel P versus Chief J.
And Fetty versus T-Bone.
That's right, a lot of returning players here. I think it's 7 returning players, just 1 new one. So let's go over to the couch. We have 2 gentlemen here who can help us out deciphering all the madness. On the red couch with me, creator and host of the Super Magical Cup, it's Rainy as always.
What's up, man?
Hey, you know what? Nothing.
Nothing is up
except for right now, this moment.
Yeah, and rum ham, I guess.
and
far less existential on the blue couch.
And this is Roman. He's right here. All right, guys, how's it going? Everyone rested up, grabbed a little dinner before our last broadcast.
Yeah, changed clothes, everything.
Yeah, we just swapped it out. Everything's gone.
Can I be the next Bobby Fischer? Is that something I can do?
Well, it's the people who are playing this. So if you make it, if you can make it to the Coronation Day, you could potentially be the next Bobby Fischer.
Can we get a sub so I can go? Let's get backstab back. So
Backstab back.
Yeah. So and then I'm gonna go play.
Hey, you think I don't want $2,000? I think I would like to be playing in these just as much as you would.
We'll get another backstab. It'll just be like,
let's get 2.
Rob, him and I are just not gonna be on the show anymore.
We'll see you
Or
guys
we could just
on the next
comment
event.
like, the thing's happening.
Or you guys at home. How about you guys? If you guys want to come be a part of this, just let us know. Just send us an email. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. All right, guys. Coronation Day number 10. It is here. Like we mentioned, 7 returning players, just
So
1
many.
new one. Let's talk about the new one. His name?
Middle Sky.
Middle Sky. Have you seen him in the community at all? Is this a name you guys recognize?
I don't know. You know what the most surprising thing to me is? All these names that we're not too familiar with, every time they pop up, I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're from a familiar clan. So I wouldn't be surprised if Middle Sky was a Reddit Alpha guy or a Takeover guy or, you know.
We'll see when we get to his match because it'll be on the sidebar so we can see the clan then. But you're right. In terms of decks, first deck is pretty standard Golem, Baby Dragon deck that we've seen of everyone. The second one is a kind of interesting giant deck. No bowler, but Graveyard, Skeleton Army, and Furnace. So a little interesting deck building going on there with this other deck.
I'm looking for a 3-peat Graveyard win.
Yes.
Wow, that would be
That'd be
amazing.
great.
Back to back to back.
Speaking of 3-peats,
Okay.
Epru makes his 3rd top 8 in a row.
That's right.
consecutively.
Congrats.
Back
That's
again.
just huge.
Done.
Same decks as always, big Goblin Barrel player, and actually we have 2 Goblin Barrel players with the return of Aopa.
Hey, so you're saying that Golem and then Giant Bowler decks are kind of like the decks right now people are bringing, right?
Yeah. Golem, Giant, Bowler. I mean, how can you argue against it when just last Coronation, a few hours ago, Jewish Panda demonstrated how you can crush Golem decks with Giant Bowler. And so you take the one that can defeat Golems, and then you take Golem, and that defeats everything else. So I don't think there's a strong case to be made against it. However, if you are a competitor in the Clash Royale North American Open, it's up to you to decide how to defeat those decks. And I think that I would love to see players strategically think, sit down, and really decide how to break open the meta. We've seen times where, for example, where people got confident with things like Giant Poison and whatnot, but there was always the counterforce, right? For every interaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
That's what physics says. Yeah.
Well, that person then you should be rooting for is T-Bone tonight. I believe making his third or fourth top. He's definitely a very consistent competitor. He's the only player running Lava Hound with an Inferno Dragon to boot.
By the way, that's my new legendary. I got Inferno Dragon.
Congratulations.
Out of a
He
free
did it.
chest. I was just cycling through. I was like, wait a second.
The dream is alive.
Thanks,
to buy
Supercell.
mine.
You guys made my day.
Also running the only Royal Giant deck in the field tonight. So he is the only person
interesting.
running each of these two decks.
He's original.
4 people are running Golem and Giant Bowlers that are 2 decks. So we're going to see a lot of that tonight, and whoever is good at playing the mirror matches, who can ever outmaneuver their opponent playing a similar deck, is got a good chance of being a champion.
That's where the mind games come in. Just a quick reminder, guys, of our schedule here at the Clash Round North American Opens. We run every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, it is 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Thursdays, 8 o'clock p.m. A little bit later Pacific Standard Time. We only have a few more of these to go, ending on the 17th, and by that time, 16 champions will be crowned, and they are moving on to those arena battles. As Rumham so beautifully mentioned earlier on today, that the commercial's out for the kind of little teaser that came out. It looks so good.
It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a really exciting event. Got some high-powered celebrity hosts. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, this is great.
Some of my favorite comedians. And obviously, we're going to have probably the best Clash Royale gameplay ever seen. I mean,
so far,
you have to go through hundreds of thousands of competitors just to make it to a Coronation Day. Got to go through some of the best to win a Coronation Day. And then it's the winners of the winners battling against each other into the crown duels to be the grand dueler, the ruler of the duelers.
I have a question.
The cream of the crop,
Are they going to have haikus? Because
I
love haikus. So send them now, because apparently in a few weeks you're not going to be able to send them at all. So
when's the last time that someone
now.
asked you to send a haiku?
Hashtag ClashNA Open, 575 syllables, not words.
Not words.
You also know what to get Ella for Christmas. She's going to miss it. Get a haiku. She's going to miss it.
Send a bunch of Christmas haikus. If you guys also reminder, if you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and hit that share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe. And finally, if you're watching this on Twitch, go ahead and give us a follow. We really appreciate that. We want, again, these guys are the top right now players. We want to give them the recognition that they deserve. Fantastic. Was that a new bullet?
No, we were doing the thumbs up emote.
Oh, where's your cool little things you got from
What did you do to them?
You know, they're outside the studio right now. I'm sorry, folks. How about this? You're just gonna have to do them with your malleable face.
Yeah,
yes,
do them with your face.
we will malleable the faces up. All right, so our first matchup tonight, Mr. Man's dad versus Aopa. Both returning players. Rumham, are these guys who are playing with the mirrors? Are these guys going against with both Golem and Giant
Actually,
Bowler?
no. We're going to start off with a pretty interesting matchup. We're going to have the meta versus the anti-meta.
Oh, okay.
Aopa is running a Hog Cycle deck, the only Hog Cycle deck in the field tonight, along with his minor Princess Goblin Barrel Skeleton Army, the Zap Bait deck that he's been kind of known for. So, Mr. Man's dad, though, however, is one of the 4 players running Golem, Baby Dragon, Lightning, and Giant Bowler.
Okay, well, Mr. Man's dad versus Aopa. Who do you think is going to take it? Let us know in chat.
Crucible, Wrath, and Clout Gaming being represented by both of these guys.
Crucible Wrath is the clan that a player called Vizard NS is from. Vizard is a fantastic player, so I'm sure that Mr. Man's dad will follow in the footsteps. And Mr. Man's dad had a pretty great run the first time he showed up on the Coronation Days. Let's see if he can repeat that. Big arrows, takes down the skeletons, takes down the... Oh, and a zap. He's really committing a lot of elixir, and he's going to earn a lot of damage for it. That Ice Skull's not going to do nothing. I'm sorry. The Giant does not retarget, and the Mega Minion just maintains on the tower because it's an air unit.
And that shows how tough it is. It looks like... Oh, that's the danger of only running Fireball. The other spell he had was Log. Log, unfortunately, doesn't hit Mega Minion. That Mega Minion survived with a little bit of health, and Aopa just didn't really have anything else in his hand at the time to get rid of it, and that low-health Mega Minion just shredded the tower along with the Giant.
That is a tough way to open out a series, but Aopa still has opportunities to make a comeback happen. He did do 1,000 damage onto that left side tower, so it's going to be up to Aopa to figure out how he can game his opponent, get a positive elixir trade, and then play out the game from there. But
Hog Rider might get one swing there.
Two. Just one.
Not bad though. I mean, that's a 4 elixir trade, a 4 elixir attack with a 5 elixir defense, and he got a little bit of damage, and his opponent spent a little more. Mega Minion's gonna kill this bowler and then counterattack, so maybe it's gonna work out okay for him.
Aopa is still working from behind as he has lost 1 tower, but that is one step in this long process that Aopa has to go through to come back in this game. I think if he can continue to play the way that he is, he's probably set to even it up. Whether or not he can take the game after each tower is down, though, remains to be seen.
Tombstone played very far up to make sure that Hog Riders get distracted by it. Oh, and it gets fireballed. We've seen a lot of that in this tournament.
Yeah.
Tombstone is such a stifling card. It's so hard to attack into it that a lot of players feel like, well, I just got to go ahead and fireball to get it off the board.
Okay, tower is down, and so Aopa knows that now he has to commit all his elixir on defense. Really interestingly, puts his Tombstone there rather in the middle position. I think he really wants to avoid an aggressive drop from Mr. Man's dad to try to take down that Tombstone early. Giant makes it to the tower, but only gets 1 swing, and the log will push the bowler away, slowing down the damage, and the crown tower actually cleans it up.
Good defense. Fantastic
defense by Aopa. I actually think that was really expert of him.
Yeah, given that he was behind by so much elixir because he had to commit to the left side in order to take that tower down, I think he's got to be pretty happy that even though he did take damage on the tower, it wasn't a significant amount. He still got a pretty healthy tower, and he lives to fight another day, and hopefully his Hog Rider can close it out. But I don't know, Giant Bowler, pretty tough push.
Giant Bowler is great against Tombstone because the bowler will inadvertently get rid of all the skeletons piling up on the Giant, but still enough damage to take down that Giant before it really gets anywhere significant. Mega Minion gets taken down, and so does the bowler before it actually rolls in. So full health archers. How is Aopa going to play the Hog Rider in this position, though?
That's a very good question. We've mentioned many times before how tough it is to win 2-1 with a Hog Rider. Normally, a Hog Rider is only attacking into 1 defending tower, but once you get to this point of the game, anywhere the Hog Rider goes, both towers are going to be shooting at it.
All right, Mega Minion will do a little bit of damage to the Giant, and it's not going to get a single swing, but the boulder is barely making it as well. And again, Aopa seems to hold relatively well, but he can never counterattack for a big exchange, it seems like. Fireball comes in, does a little bit of damage on the tower, and I feel like this is really tough.
I can see a Giant placed in the middle here. Oh, maybe not. The reason why you would do that is because it gets right on the Tombstone. It doesn't have to walk up to it and let the skeletons build up. It just starts thumping away. But Op's not doing it. He's holding the Giant for another day.
Man, Rubham, I just got word from the administrators, despite the fact that Mr. Man's dad is playing excellently, and I think he might just earn a win here. Unfortunately, it seems like Mr. Man's dad is playing an illegal deck.
You're right, this is not the deck he registered, actually. Looking at it, he has...
instead of log.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately going to cost him the game, switching out from his registered deck.
So even though Mr. Man's dad took that one, he didn't, actually. He didn't take that one, so that win is going to go over to Aopa right there.
And Aopa is going to be probably thrilled to hear that in clan chat. How often does that happen? Like, you lose the game, but actually...
You won!
You win! Hooray!
Oh, yeah, unfortunate circumstance for Mr. Man's dad, but I do think that the game would have gone incredibly different if he had the log instead of the Tombstone. Tombstone is a big card to use in defense against Hog Riders. Despite the fact that it kind of succumbs to a Hog-Log combo, it's still a very different interaction than what Log would provide you in that same scenario. So it's very hard to say what the outcome of that match would have been if it was a legit deck.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, I don't know if that was on purpose. I'm going to assume that it wasn't on purpose, but you're right. Like, having Tombstone there, it helped draw the Giant towards the middle, let the skeletons build up. It was a very, very powerful card. Certainly better than just having another kind of needless spell that wouldn't have been so great against it. Because there's really nothing to... In that Hog deck, there's really not a lot of things to log. Like, archers survive. Yeah, you knock back the Hog Rider, but it doesn't do that much damage.
All right, so we're probably gonna reassess the situation here and figure
go right
out
into game 2.
Yeah.
No, in this situation, Aopa, does he win? Does that count as a win with his Hog Rider deck? Can he play it in the next game?
I believe the rule set says that he can play either of his decks now.
Okay, so he doesn't. Illegal. So he didn't actually win with that deck in the sense that his Hog Rider deck is now eliminated. Both players have the options.
Just gets a win.
So what should he play?
Well, he's gonna have. Well, that's a good question. He doesn't know what he's gonna go up against. I assume he's gonna see that same Giant Bowler deck again because that's probably Mr. Man's preferred deck. And in that case, probably still want to stick with that Hog Rider deck. He might have to just try to win that matchup a second time.
Yeah.
The nice part is that in the second game, he might not have the same unfortunate start where that tower goes down in the first 40 seconds. He might get to survive that one a little bit.
I was impressed that he came back from that.
Yeah.
If I was playing on the ladder, I'd be like, oh, I'm done.
Just pack it up.
Just give him a good game, and then you just opponent has left.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm saying that is because the Skeleton Army Goblin Barrel Princess deck looks pretty ugly against a deck with arrows, log, zap.
Yeah, all those things are gone.
Yeah.
Bowler.
All right, well, we are now going into game number 2. Aopa is up 1-0 again. Last game, Mr. Man's dad running a not submitted deck, so he gets a loss for that.
An auspicious start for the 10th Coronation Day. And if Aopa goes on to win this, think about that. Goes on to win the entire Coronation Day, it might be something you could chalk up to a single card wrong in a single deck list.
Wow, cause and effect, baby, cause and effect.
All right, Mega Minions will duel each other, but the archers will help the blue Mega Minion win. But overall, not much damage done. And here comes an Ice Golem Hog Rider combo. The Hog Rider gets ahead of the Ice Golem. Hog Log being implemented, and it's a little bit slow, but the Hog Rider's going to get a swing, maybe 2.
Mr. Man's Dad has switched, by the way, to his Golem deck, so that is a very legal tombstone. That was super registered in the deck.
Good job, Mr. Man's dad.
Like a good father should.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, boy.
Being a man is owning up to your mistakes. What is a man's dad? There we go. I was digging deep for some bad jokes. There we go.
I think we all were.
So, kind of early here, only a minute 40 into the game. They're not hitting double elixir anytime soon, and yet the golem push is already going. This can be really risky early in the game because you don't have as much elixir to support the push as you might want.
Ice Golem is going to allow the skeletons to build up on the Golem itself. And there it pops. Golem gets taken down before it reaches the tower. Mega Minion is actually doing a lot of work. Takes down the last archer before going on to the skeletons. But look at how many archers are out for Aopa. The Ice Golem tries to get ahead. No! Don't run too fast. It's to your doom, archer. And finally, that one archer does go down. Mega Minion gets into the back line, however. And it's going to clean up that push pretty handily. Interesting that Aopa chose not to play a Hog Rider in that scenario.
I think he might have just gotten the Hog Rider back now. There it is. Yep. Because he needed to play 4 cards, of course, to draw it back, and I think he had the Archers, the Ice Golem, and then the Tombstone. It's like the last couple cards.
Pre-log.
Interesting. I wish we could see, but I actually think Mr. Man's dad did not have Tombstone in the cycle.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So he tried. That wasn't a mistaken, misclicked log. The idea there was he was expecting a Tombstone to come out and was timing it so that the log would roll over the Tombstone and clear it out. Didn't quite work out for him, but that's a very heavy foresight play. You got to be a really excellent player to sort of see that coming and try to pull that off.
Interesting push for Mr. Man's dad. Gets 2 Golemites up to the tower, but the main Golem was destroyed by a double Tombstone play. Log had to be played to get rid of the first one, and the second one was still standing, allowed a lot of skeletons to build up. But again, we're in double elixir phase, and it seems like these golems are unrelentless. Yeah. Log comes in, but no, these skeletons are actually going to survive, and Baby Dragon is actually attracted by the ice golem in front.
And the tower is locked onto it.
Yes.
Like someone on a big screen, you can totally see Baby Dragon's tongue, like giant blue tongue.
Yeah. Here's how you can do that log again. Goes with the fireball instead.
And he only needs 1 swing to really justify this. Fireball, log, and a bit, I think, or fireball and 2 logs. Yeah, he needs fireball and 1 log now that that log has done damage.
Cycle.
And I think he should be able to,
yeah,
I think he should be able to cycle before this golem can actually kill the tower.
He's dropping units.
I think he doesn't even need to defend. If he just fireballs and logs, he will win.
There it is.
He's got to put it far back enough to push those true.
Oh, it hit the tower!
No!
Oh no!
And the lightning!
Oh no!
He needs to take down this ice golem. How much damage will it do? Takes it down.
Here comes he's already and logs out of cycle because he used it a little too much on defense.
Oh no!
Here comes the fireball. He needs the log.
He has it back!
Oh my goodness.
Before his opponent could redraw lightning. Because remember, lightning was in the opponent's
Taking it down.
All he needed was that.
There we go. Aopa getting 2 wins there. Super close at the end. And he is moving on to be our first semifinalist of Coronation Day, number 10.
My goodness, giving me the vapors.
The vapors, he said.
That missed log. So what's the range on log? Is it half of the lane? Or is it like half of the map?
It's, I believe, 2 tiles longer than a princess, which is pretty relative description there. But it used to be that log, if you played it at the river, it just barely hit the tower. It was like clip the tower, and if you played it even one square back from the river, it wouldn't hit the tower. Okay. The most recent update, which extended its range by 20%, I believe added either 2 or 3 tiles to the range. So you can play it back a little bit. That log that fell just short, the goal there was to try to use it a little bit on defense because he was worried about maybe getting burned down before. And that was smart because if you saw it, it got really close. If those archers had locked on, it was going to die. Yeah. But instead, he wanted to hit the archers and then have the very end of it hit the tower. It looked like it was one square off, fell short. Thankfully, he was able to pull it off, but ooh.
That would have been,
Got closer, and because Mr. Man's Dad's first deck was not submitted correctly, that's the 2 wins that all Sopa needs. He is moving on. Let's get into our first replay here. Hog Rider.
Hog Rider has been such an impressive card, especially Chief Mystical, making it to the semifinals with 2 Hog Rider decks. It's really making me believe in Hog Rider as an option to play in the current meta.
And you're really seeing here the best timing of a Hog Rider. When your opponent drops a golem, both of these replays involve a hog coming down in response to a golem. Your opponent only has 2 elixir. You know, even during double elixir time, it takes a little bit to recover on that. And if you can time it just right, your opponent's pretty defenseless and that hog can get in and do a lot of damage. Even when he missed the log in that first replay, that was the hog that did the most, most swings on the tower.
Yeah.
That's good to know, because I have Hog Rider in my deck. Play it like that.
But log is the card that we are seeing so much, and that's the next legendary that I hopefully get. All right, now on quickly to our next match in the round of 8. It is EPRU versus our newcomer Middle Sky.
Yep.
So EPRU and Middle Sky, Rumham, what are they bringing?
Well, EPRU is the other. Actually, sorry, they're both running identical golem lists.
Okay.
The golem baby dragon light list that we've seen 5 different players are playing it in today's top 8. But their opposite decks, their alternate decks are pretty interesting. We've got a minor princess Goblin Barrel Zap Bait deck, very similar to what Aopa was just playing. Well, we didn't actually see it out of Aopa, but they're running the same decks. And Middle Sky is running the giant skeleton army furnace. This is probably the most innovative deck we've seen in today's tournament.
I'm interested to see how that works out.
We got double skeleton. We got a skeleton army and a graveyard in Middle Sky's giant deck, and he's actually opening up with it, so we're gonna get to see it here in game 1.
Let us know who you think is gonna take it in the chat. Middle Sky or EPRU?
Genesis Middle Sky is from. Is that a pretty well-known clan?
You know, actually, Genesis was one of the most prominent clans very early in the game's tournament scene. I mean, early, like, we're talking March, April of this year. Genesis was one of the first, before Takeover, before Clout, before a lot of these established. Genesis was a really big one.
Oh my god! Oh no! The graveyard was too much! EPRU refused to play additional elixir to stop it, and the 2 minions that were left over from the minion horde just abandoned duty. Ended up being really effective in terms of a drop. Minor Goblin Barrel is actually a very strong combo, and as you can see, did about 500 damage to that tower. I would say decent.
That's a clinic on abandoning. I'll see how much damage this card does. I'm sure it's not too much. Well, Graveyard can take your tower down to half health, and that Goblin Barrel, even if you log it, it's still doing about 20% of your tower.
Yeah, exactly. Giant, doesn't get a punch. Wow, and that's really the trade-off. Can you get away with throwing Minor Goblin Barrel, 2 cards that does not remove anything off the board if played well? Can you get away with defending a push? And the Giant didn't get a single swing, and I think EPRU made a good decision.
Yeah, having both Skeleton Army and Graveyard is such a good double hitter here, because if they use one of their log answers, you know that they don't have an answer for the other card.
Uh-oh. Did he miss that log?
Oh, he did. I think that was an accidental cast.
Wow. Princess is gonna live.
Still, the Giant does a lot of swings, and EPRU must find the way to convert the Princess into something useful. Punish the mistake.
Yeah, that's the second time in 2 games that we've seen a failed log not actually matter too much.
There's the mind games. He has a tank. He waited so long for that zap. But still, the Miner is going to get another 500 damage unanswered. And so this time it's actually, compared to the first Goblin Barrel, a better one, because Middle Sky had to spend the zap, but still took 500 damage.
Yeah, early Inferno Tower. Ooh, Graveyard to answer. Now, watch this. These skeletons are going to start popping up and distracting the Inferno Tower in every direction, maybe except for locking on the Giant. Even when it does, the Giant's so close already.
Yeah. The Minion Horde did a really good job stopping that Graveyard. Killed enough skeletons that finally the Inferno Tower locked onto the Giant, as well as, despite the fact that the Minion Horde was zapped out, does not make a difference against Mega Minion, because it's still just one shot to kill them.
For my money, Minion Horde's probably the best card. Wow, that was not a really good Inferno Tower. Unfortunately, Good thing for him is the tower's not going to go down in the next 5 seconds or so, although it's going to get kind of close.
Oh,
wow.
Launching the Goblin Barrel, but just not close enough. And there it is. Middle Sky going to pick up his first victory here in the Clash Round North American Opens. One more game, and he's going on to the semifinals.
That's a cool deck. I'm going to try this one later. I mean, the double whammy of Graveyard and Skeleton Army really makes it hard for your opponent unless they're running Zap and Log and Arrows to stop all that.
So, talking about the miss log, do you think it's just a very... Was that just a miss swipe, a misclick on his finger?
Twice in a row.
I think what he was expecting was for the princess to shoot the Fire Spirits and then start walking back towards the river, but at the steady pacing of more cards, the princess would just keep finding new targets to lock on and would stood in place. I think it was probably a misclick on the first one at least, but the second one, you're right, seems like it might have been a pattern.
All right, now if you're EPRU, Rainey, are you going to bring the same deck again against what Middle Sky is going to bring, or are you going to switch it up?
I would say, for the sake of extending your life in the tournament, switch it up first. I think there is a way to win with the Goblin Barrel deck, but you need to play a little more conservatively. I really like the fact that he was throwing 5 Elixir to do big damage to the tower, or rather 6, I believe. It's 3 and 3, Miner 3, Goblin Barrel 3.
Yeah.
I actually really like that, but 6 Elixir is the same as a rocket, right? So you need to make sure that you are in the advantage, or you know that there's no counterattack, which is why I mentioned that the first time he threw it out there, the fact that he defended the Giant means that, okay, you can get away with this. But do it again, every time you throw out that Elixir, you need to make sure that you can actually take what's coming.
Yeah. I think EPRU should stick with the Goblin Barrel deck because he's going up against a Golem mirror, or it's going up against a Golem deck, and his other deck is Golem. So if it's Golem on Golem, kind of a coin flip in a lot of ways, unless you're really confident in that matchup. Whereas here, you might be able to outplay your opponent.
And also, again, we've been seeing these Golem decks. If your opponent's running Golem, it really is so crucial to take them down before overtime. Because if you do, you got it. If not, it's probably going to go in their favor.
Ooh.
Well timed by Middle Sky, throwing the log early, making sure the Goblins did not get a single swing. But if EPRU is smart, he should have identified that Middle Sky is throwing his log early.
I think this is a pretty good play here at the Inferno Tower. Normally you're worried about maybe playing it too early and not having it in cycle, but EPRU's deck is so cheap, so low cost, that he should be able to get back to the Inferno Tower by the time this Golem gets across the river.
Wow, they get 2 big swings, and look at how much damage that was. A big punish and get some splash on the Mega Minion. This means that the Mega Minion will absolutely not make it to that tower.
Minion Horde is just, again, second time in a row we've seen this card. Just tears up tanks.
And Log is unfortunately not going to do anything to that in the sky, so Middle Sky is holding his Log, but not too much to do with it against the enemy minion horde.
Still a very dangerous push. You need some kind of tank, and he's going to use Skeleton Army to mitigate the damage from the archers, but this is buying Middle Sky back into the game, essentially. Log is played, so there needs to be some kind of punish for EPRU. He's going to play the Princess first, but I believe Minor Goblin Barrel is the next set of cards that he should play as a response.
Should rename that to Buff Dragon.
Nicely done, Baby Dragon. You growing up.
You can't control me anymore, Dad!
What all the damage to the tower I want?
I think you might just let this Mega Minion on the side there go. It's only going to swing maybe twice, and that tower has so much.
It's a mind game.
Oh, I love how you know it. Oh, it's great.
Oh, and look at that, it dodges the Ice Golem. The Ice Golem was played to absorb the Goblins, but because they were so far away, the Ice Golem walked out of range, allowing them to actually get a hit on the tower.
Now, again, baton has been passed, Golem can be played. How does EPRU play out of this situation? It's so important. Every single elixir he commits to this board needs to eventually stop that Golem from pushing his tower down, or he needs to trade towers. Even if he does trade towers, he needs to make sure he doesn't get 3 crowns, so defense here for EPRU is going to be absolutely the most important thing for him.
Skeleton Army against archers is a pretty hard play there because each archer will one-hit a skeleton, so they're killing stuff as soon as it comes out. Manages, though, to get him with the Minion Horde, and looks like their Middle Sky might be out of answers for this Minion Horde.
I actually like River Golem at this point because there's no way that you can start another big push in 30 seconds with Golem, but I think that EPRU might have done it, and Rumham, you're right. Against the Golem deck, I actually feel like this Goblin Barrel deck was able to set the pace a little bit better, put options into EPRU's hand rather than waiting for Doom.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the best, because it has a lot of good ways to punish. I think that's the important thing about it, is it can not only punish when you're out of answers, but it can punish you when you're low on elixir. So there's sort of a double whammy of Middle Sky has to get a golem on the board without getting completely crushed by Goblin Barrel Miner, and on top of that, he's got to really watch his log usage and not just throw it away. We see log used on archers a lot. You have to resist that urge, like don't log the archers or other things, because you're going to need that against the incoming Goblin Barrel Skeleton Army, all that kind of stuff. But now, game 3, it's going to be a golem mirror.
It's the mirror matchup. One thing I like is the minion horde in that deck for, was it EPRU who brought that? It's, like you said, log doesn't affect it. It's a card that, you know, if you fireball it, I guess you get a positive trade there, but usually people do that on the cycles for the towers. What cards are people using that are now, I guess Furnace is a really good counter to it. Is there anything else really in the meta right now that is a good counter to minion horde?
Maybe arrows. There are some cases where I think you could argue grabbing arrows. Not so much recently, but when Lava Hound was more prevalent, definitely arrows is a choice that you would take. Right now, since a lot of people are playing Giant Bowler and Golem Baby Dragon, arrows is not as relevant, especially when everybody's running Mega Minion as their chief card rather than Minion Horde. There aren't too many options. I mean, if you're trying to weigh your risks, you would rather risk it on a card for something like Mega Minion, where you know pretty much every deck has, rather than Minion Horde, which is effective, but very rare.
Yeah, and because tournament level Zap doesn't kill Minion Horde, right?
No.
Ella, what do you think counters Minion Horde? What's your favorite card? Princess! Yes! Your twin, your sister!
I was like,
it's your favorite card!
you need to better your impressions because I didn't get that one.
Oh, it's our arrow! Yeah. Shooting arrows in the sky.
Hey,
true.
I saw.
It's okay. You're still...
Okay, it's a legendary that
You're
is
still
not
having to
going
buy it
to
from the
reach.
shop.
Differentiate from the princess and the archer.
It's because I look so much like a princess. That was the problem. My impressions aren't so strong there.
Well, there it is, guys. Middle Sky and EPRU one game away from moving on to the semifinals. Who is it going to be? Golem mirror matchup. This is the mind game. It's time for the outplay.
Woo.
Oh,
Early
big
lightning.
lightning. Yeah. I think that there's not really going to be an opportunity for EPRU to punish that. I mean, he has an archer on the table.
And that makes sense, right? We especially know early on you're never going to see really aggressive golem pushes, and maybe you thought, like, I'll just get some damage on the tower early because this might come down to a late lightning, and I'd rather have cast it in the first 20 seconds than be racing at the end.
The river golem is a sighting for the last minute of the game rather than the opening moments.
Middle Sky, I don't know if he meant to play the tombstone that direction or if they were just cast at the same time, the tombstone and the golem, right? But I think you almost always are going to want your tombstone pointing in the direction of the enemy golem because you want those skeletons to build up.
Yep, only now do the skeletons retarget themselves onto the thing, and I think the tombstone's down.
Oh, wow.
That golem's going to make it to the tower. Ooh. Yeah.
The Baby Dragon meets at the river and decides to fight those archers off. Baby Dragon won. I mean, as archers have become a very popular support card, Baby Dragon has also become very popular because of how good they are against archers. Only 2 spits to take down a whole squad.
Now, was it because of that early lightning by Middle Sky that EPRU was able to get that damage on the tower? Was that kind of the trade?
Yeah, well...
Quite possibly. I think some of it is line of play. Also,
I think it was
remember
the
that the tombstone went the wrong direction as well.
Watch how much damage this is going to take just from these like kind of scrubby amount of skeletons. Even with the archers helping out, it does a good 10-15% to them, which isn't bad at all. Wow.
Another tombstone added to the mix is really gonna. The timing's good.
That thing, I don't think it's going to blow up on the tower.
Ah! Oh, that was close.
But it's close enough to get some damage in there.
Yep. And there's no opportunity for EPRU to really play a golem as a counter push. Though I think Middle Sky playing that golem so close to his tower is a little bit questionable. EPRU actually calls his bluff and plays a golem in the face of the push.
Yeah. And blocking the baby dragon. Oh, wow.
That explains everything. That really does explain everything. Log is not on the table either, so that golem gets taken down. Meanwhile, there's Log for EPRU, and I think he's won out this situation. I mean, archers do good damage, but not good enough to stop this golem from getting a single swing and exploding.
I think Middle Sky is going on tilt right now. That River Golem was not very good. There were so many support troops already there that you just gave away a lot of elixir, and I think he was doing that trying to block it, but...
Yeah, EPRU I think has played out the situation perfectly.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, EPRU is going to play a golem in front of his tower this time. How do you clear the board? And it's going to be lightning. Only 1 archer remains.
There's got to be something better than a golem right there. I think you'd rather have the tombstone. Maybe you didn't have it. It's like, oh no, it didn't pull.
It got pushed to the side by the other golem. So Middle Sky's golem is actually too fat. It pushed EPRU's golem to the right and gave it a straight shot at the tower. Really have to be careful with your positioning. That tombstone placement is on the very edge of what is acceptable in terms of pulling. The unit coming across the bridge has to be center place or on the left end of that bridge to be able to be attracted to that tombstone. Instead, because that fat golem that Middle Sky played pushed the other golem to the right edge of the map, and
EPRU 3 times in a row, top 8, and here he is, moving on to the semifinals.
Congrats.
We're gonna have a Goblin Barrel mirror match in the next round.
That's gonna be crazy.
Rainy's gonna have to get cooled down. We're gonna put ice pack on.
Yeah, it's gonna
yeah, I
have
feel
too
like
much fun.
I feel like the studio is a little hotter than normal today. I'm feeling a little.
Middle Sky, congratulations for making it here to the top 8, but you are not good enough tonight to move on to the semifinals. Congratulations, EPRU. Let's pull up our first replay here.
Goblin barrels.
Yeah, you can see that this opening moment for Goblin Barrel is put square on the tower because he knows that there's no spells ready to punish. Put them straight on the tower, get the Goblin stabbing as soon as possible, get a ton of damage for it.
Oh, and that was just caught him right off guard. The archers had just been played to back up the golem, and that left no archers to cheaply defend the tower and shoot down the goblins,
there's
and
the
that
push.
tower gets knocked right out.
Yeah, that golem is too fat, pushes the blue golem to the right, and gives him a straight shot to the tower, and that's it.
I don't want to blame it too much on that tombstone placement. Like, yeah, that was a bad tombstone, and
Yeah.
I think he ended up losing the game, but I think he was already kind of deep in an elixir hole, deep in a tempo hole. EPRU had control of the game, of the pace of the game at that point, and it was just a matter of time before Middle Sky's tower went down.
Yeah.
That tombstone was just the straw that broke the golem's back.
The fat golem.
Whenever is a river golem? Because we've seen people play river golems
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
great success. When is that? What situation has to be present for that to be actually acceptable?
So River Golem is really great if you know your opponent has to make a decision between committing Elixir to one lane or the other. I think River Golem is one of those things where, for example, if your opponent, you know that he only has about 3 Elixir to play around, Archers or just a Tombstone is actually not a great answer to a straight Golem being played, because if you play Tombstone, it's easy enough for your opponent to regenerate enough Elixir to have the log, and then you have the problem of having maybe a half health Golem pushing onto your tower. If you just play Archers, they actually just don't do enough damage to stop the Golem, and so the Golem just walks up to the tower and is able to take it down. The fact that you play at the river just means you give your opponent the least amount of time possible to regenerate Elixir to handle the push.
Yeah.
When you threaten them on 2 ends, make sure that they have to consider playing Elixir on one side while also trying to consider playing Elixir for the Golem. You force them to make a decision. What do I give up?
Okay. Well,
The
let's.
easy, good. No, good. I was saying the easy thing to think about is basically, are there support troops already there defending? The reason why that River Golem was deadly for Middle Sky was that there were already archers and baby dragons and mega minions still alive on the enemy
got
side.
melted.
So the Golem just walks right into taking a bunch of damage. If there's nothing there, then I think you can play a River Golem. If there is defense, no sir.
All right.
Okay,
Good to know.
let's see our bracket thus far for tonight. What's been happening? Who's up next? What do you think is gonna go down?
I'm so excited to see the 2 E-named players fight out with Goblin
Hey,
Barrels.
I could be one of them.
You could be right there. You just have to play Goblin Barrel. I would be happy to
Yeah,
build you a Goblin
please
Barrel
do,
deck.
Please do.
Just make sure you get a miner first.
I hope that they match up. Like the worst case scenario in my head is that each Goblin Barrel deck beats the
Oh,
opposing
yeah, they
Golem
can't
deck.
play it.
I
Yeah.
gotta see the Goblin
Yeah.
Barrel mirror.
Yeah.
I want to
see
put
my
up with it in
games.
game
Please
1. I don't
do.
care if it's the wrong idea. Do it.
It's
Wait,
for entertainment.
Yeah.
let's challenge Rumham's creativity. How do you do a Goblin Barrel impersonation?
I was gonna ask the same thing, and I was like, no, that's not fair.
I'm looking around the
That's
studio right now. There you go. He just does
He
it.
even got the look.
He even got it. Goodness. Rumham, the most amazing impersonator. He does
so-
birthday parties, he does weddings, he does all that stuff.
In my prior career, I was a talking mime.
Wow. Okay, there we go. Just a quick reminder from one of these 8 players to
That's
play for
failure
today.
right from
It
the
is
start.
$2,000 and that chance to move on to the Crown Duels, where first place takes on $15,000 and the chance to go to Supercell HQ.
Yeah, and if you just saw what happened here, maybe you want to write a haiku about
Don't
it.
tell my friends.
Let's write an improv haiku. Please don't tell my friends.
Hey,
That's 5.
good.
It's your first 5. If
Okay.
it starts with "please don't tell my friends," I'll read it.
We're done. And there's your first line.
fill in the rest.
Continue the rest here.
Hashtag Clash NA Open. Send it right now. Last chance.
That's right, guys. All right,
Man.
up next we have Marcel P versus Chief J, 2 returning veterans of the Clash Royale North American Open.
5 times. 5 times
Marcel
Marcel's
P.
been here. 50% of
Marcel
Coronation
P.
days we've featured the
Have him.
handsome and strikingly good player,
Yeah.
Are you
Marcel P.
cutting a promo
And
again right now?
I can. Hey, I was really impressed at the King's Cup. Marcel P was very, very strong deep into the final cut. Almost made the top 8 cut. So I think it would be a fitting end to his weekend if he were to return home
and
Yeah,
win.
and just
that'd be great.
come right back in a few weeks for the arena battles and the crown duel.
he has made it to the finals also twice, 3?
Yeah. Yep.
Twice,
Yes, sir.
2-time made it to the finals. So this might be his night. Chief J.
Losing to other Reddit clan members, though, and I believe he's the only one left in the field, so
Oh, this might be it.
his kryptonite is gone.
Yeah, he's now the best right now until someone proves him otherwise. Potentially, it is Chief J. Our battle is starting. Let's get right into our first matchup between Marcel P and Chief J.
What's it gonna be?
Here
What's
in
it
the
gonna
round of
be?
8.
Goblin barrels.
Chief J, member of Takeover, also looking for repeat titles. Both of them are from the same, probably the most represented clans we've seen.
Oh no, they don't have goblin.
Actually, I think this is the duel. Actually, no, Chief J was the first player, the top 8 with a graveyard deck, and actually he is the player who's playing double graveyard.
Yay, we are. Yeah, double
Don't get
graveyard.
real spooky. Watch this, graveyard bottom left. Oh, maybe not, maybe he didn't have it in his hand. He's going with the 8 elixir push instead. We've seen this before at a Lucifer earlier today, where you play 8 elixir at the river to counter the 8 elixir behind the King Tower. Let's see if this can make it all the way up there and do some damage.
How do you stop the skeletons? It's gonna be Zap, and the giant does make it. 2 swings, maybe a third, and the Mega Minion
4.
makes it. The
See,
Mega
so
Minion
much
makes it.
health on that dang
Wow.
giant.
Man, and this golem is going nowhere. Oh, I'm sorry,
Well,
guys.
I don't know. That one Golemite's getting a little close. And the Mega Minion's eking ever closer to the tower. Oh, pulled by
nice.
by the Musketeer.
You talk about wet noodle damage. That was wet noodle damage.
Dolomites.
I was making myself
man,
some
yeah.
instant ramen yesterday, and that just reminded me of what happened when I dropped the ramen on the floor.
Yeah.
It
did.
did 80 damage to your house.
Your house took 80 damage.
Yeah, 80 damage to my house.
What is stubbing your toe in Clash Royale damage? Is that a
That's
spear
a good-
goblin?
I know. I feel like
that might be a
stubbing
spear
your toe. I think it's a Pekka swing to your tower.
Ooh,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're a little
the
mini
most-
Pekka, buddy. You can't take
Oh
it.
my
You
goodness!
can deal it
Whenever I
out, but you
stub
can't
my
take
toe, I'm like out of commission for weeks,
Pancakes.
and I need pancakes.
Oh my god.
Oh, look at this. Now we see how important the tombstone is to countering these giants. The skeletons are building up, and look at that! The tombstone lives!
Oh,
Whoa.
The skeletons
Now-
from the tombstone actually came over to help.
This is
Bless
the
their
life
hearts.
lesson about Freeze. Freeze is the quintessential
Parts they
card
don't
of Freeze is a quintessential card of instant gratification. Look good then, pay back later when you find out you have no elixir to defend a push.
Right, and
we'll
actually,
see.
Marcel P's deck is uniquely unequipped to really defend that well because the Golem deck can't really be that fast. Archers played in the middle of the graveyard is probably one of the best defenses. Look at them go.
Zapped up, but the giant is not close enough to attract the archer's attention. But still, there are
Wow.
more skeletons, and it's a big connection.
Oh, the punch from the giant. Chief J picking up 1 crown. 25 seconds left. What can Marcel P do?
It just feels like graveyard never ends.
Oh, what a freeze. However, this is not the... Oh, so the reason why I did the freeze was to buy a little bit of time. He's going to get a giant out that'll hold up some of the backline troops. This might actually work at buying him the time he needs to close the game out.
Looks like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that baby dragon got pulled on a journey way too far for his own good. And Chief J making it happen. He built up enough of an elixir advantage that he could play Graveyard Freeze, Giant Mega Minion Graveyard on the left side. That's a lot of elixir.
Yeah.
That's a ton.
The MVP is weird because in the end there, he kind of threw away 9 elixir, right? The freeze doesn't kill anything. The giant doesn't kill anything.
Just
But with the
stalling.
clock running out,
Yeah, it's
that's
good.
more than you throw away all your elixir.
Yeah, as long as you can win.
I think that's
Imagine if you
most
were playing like a
surprising.
basketball game and you're up with 2 minutes to go and you're just like, no, the clock's 0 now. No, the game's just over. You don't get a comeback.
Was his deck just a better matchup, or was he just better at playing it?
You know, we see so many decks with Giant and Mega Minion, that seems to be the kryptonite of those Golem decks, is when they put 8 behind their King Tower, you just put 8 at the river with the Giant Mega Minion, and they really struggle to deal with it. You can't Fireball away the Mega Minion. You have to, I guess, Lightning it, but you don't really have 6 Elixir right after casting a Golem, so you really put him into a tight spot.
And Graveyard was used there, again, to draw the Giant out, but still so much HP. Even though he doesn't blow up like the Golem and do the damage to the skeletons, even after take down the Graveyard, he can still continue onto the tower. He got like 4 swings in.
Yeah, I mean, Giant is one of those cards that is incredibly punishing. It's kind of the quintessential beatdown card, right? You push it, get it to the tower, and it will do the damage for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's, I mean, 3 skeleton cards in that Chief J winning deck, and a lot of the same ways that we talked about how it's really hard to defend against a Golem and not walk into a Lightning. Like, how do you play multiple troops and not have a Lightning just wipe you out?
Yep.
It's really hard to play around a freeze when you've got Giant, Graveyard, Mega Minion coming in. What are you going to play that's just not going to easily, like, all right, like, I'll lock it all down with a freeze?
Yeah.
All right, right now, Chief J is up 1-0 against Marcel P. Marcel P cannot take this one. He is knocked out. Chief J will be moving on.
Marcel P's got a oh no, here we go. We got the Baby Dragon coming in.
The baby dragon tanks for the graveyard. Archers in the back are actually going to do a good job trying to keep the skeletons at bay, but eventually they will overwhelm. Now finally does the tower get on, and with 4 different targets taking down skeletons, we'll be able to weather the storm, but 1,000 plus, 1,400 damage already done.
I feel so unthankful right now because
Golem made it to the tower.
I just got my first legendary, and now I want Graveyard more.
You always want more.
you millennials.
But yeah, well, actually that was pretty good though. Marcel P's pretty much lone Golem did 40% of the damage to that tower with really no support, and he logged the Tombstone, did some good damage to the Archer, didn't take any damage on the counter push. So even though he took a black eye to start off with, I think he's happy with how that exchange went.
Interesting. Chief J plays Golem top right, while Marcel P plays Golem back middle.
I think both of them were trying to go into each other, and they both predicted wrong which lane they thought the other person was going to attack.
Oh, no.
Ooh, okay, he's playing the Tombstone to make sure that he pulls the Golem the max distance away, rather than trying to make sure that the skeletons pile on as quick as they can.
And both of them play the Baby Dragon on defense.
This is great.
Ooh.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
This is just a clone. Deja vu.
They just have the same cycle of cards.
Marcel P was a little better though. The timing on the log out of Chief J was a little late. Didn't really log anything relevant, but again, we're going to see how can he defend this graveyard. That seems to be the big calculation that Marcel P is going to have to do.
Man, and the Baby Dragon is a great tank for Graveyard, but just not really good enough. I think the fact that it gets caught up in the middle of the map, spitting fireballs, makes it so that it's actually not as effective of a tank for the Graveyard because it's not close enough to the tower.
What's worth mentioning is Ice Golem, such a valuable, cheap defensive cycle card, is in Marcel P's deck. That is what is replaced by Graveyard in Chief J's deck. So Chief J's deck is significantly more expensive and is going to probably wish that it had those little blockers of backline damage that we see the Ice Golem do so well at.
We see that Ice Golem will earn the Mega Minion the win, but now he doesn't have Ice Golem to stop the Graveyard from piling on damage to the tower. Golemites do pop, and big lightning is going to eliminate. It's a race, actually. This log will take it down, but you don't have lightning anymore. You don't have lightning. I don't think you can cycle lightning in 17 seconds.
And there's a River Golem. That's a good one because you know that your opponent has to go down this lane. You've just put thousands of hit points in the way, and that center place Mega Minion cleans out the Tombstone so he doesn't have to log it.
Can he get it?
What?
Oh! He clicked it! And the animation actually goes off, but it does not connect, and Marcel P is going to tie it up against Chief J.
Any closer
that literally was a... nope.
In Chief J's defense, he had lost that game anyways. You're going to spend 6 elixir to kill 143 health tower.
You have an entire golem
when a golem is already punching on your door.
Right.
The key there, I think, was Marcel P adapted very well. Unlike the first game where Graveyard was just eating his lunch and drinking his milkshakes.
Man, a dang Graveyard.
I know. That time, much better. He had the Ice Golem in the way to absorb the shots. He had the Archers played very far back. No freeze in Chief J's Golem Graveyard deck, so he couldn't really punish the heavy elixir defense against Graveyard. And once that Graveyard quit spawning, he just had a pair of Archers and Mega Minion hanging around.
So what is a good way to actually defend Graveyard? Because Baby Dragon wasn't really working out very well.
You want fast attack speeds and lots of bodies. So barbs, goblins, archers, anything with multiple bodies and then with good attack speed is going to be pretty good. For example, Mini P.E.K.K.A, terrible. 2-second swing speed, gets swarmed with pancakes and just gets overwhelmed. Lumberjack, though, pretty good dude. He's swinging about as fast as the skeletons are spawning, and a tower and a lumberjack can clean house.
We actually saw that. It was basically just like whack-a-mole. He was just like, no. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Speaking of pancakes and Mini P.E.K.K.A, P.E.K.K.A was someone we have not seen at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Why isn't P.E.K.K.A and Golem? Why isn't that a good matchup? Because I feel like the P.E.K.K.A goes up, takes a Golem down, and now you have this giant body pushing against you.
Here's the thing. I think P.E.K.K.A would actually be better if it was blind. Like, if it couldn't see as far as it can see. The problem with P.E.K.K.A is that it's 7 elixir and very slow. It, unlike Golem and Giant, attacks nearby units. Well, you can really punish people with that by putting something like a skeleton army, or a tombstone, or any...
an ice golem.
Ice golem.
Or I guess graveyard.
Or like, I mean, guards, anything that requires multiple swings to kill, the P.E.K.K.A just gets caught up and the towers shred them. I think if the P.E.K.K.A like couldn't see further than like a square or two in front of his face, it would actually be better because it would get to the tower more likely.
So you kind of have to pair him
Marcel
up with
P is elixir leaking again.
Well, both of them are. They're just chilling.
But he did this last time, remember?
Yeah, so Marcel
And then
P...
he got mad at you for...
Yeah, you're right, actually. So Marcel P's playing Giant Bowler, and Chief J is playing his Golem Graveyard deck. I don't know exactly what he was afraid of, but after all that, we see a pretty standard opening here with Mega Minion coming out the back. Ooh, I like that Ice Golem to help distract, letting the blue Mega Minion start killing that thing while the Giant still is pretty full health.
Ooh.
Log?
Oh.
Nope, the Bowler is the log.
Bowling.
Bowling,
Can you imagine
bowling,
there's a
bowling.
super legendary card where it's just a bowler, but instead of rocks, he just chucks logs over and over?
That could be. They were released in the same balance update, and I'm kind of surprised the Bowler doesn't actually roll logs just so that they look the same.
Marcel P connects with a lot of damage. Bowler plus archers piling onto the tower.
Good zap.
Okay.
That shows, here's the thing, Mega Minion is such a good defensive card and such a bad offensive card, because really any damage on the Mega Minion, any stall, any stun, anything like that will keep it from really threatening the tower in any meaningful way. Ooh. The Ice Golem up front, I believe, is meant to absorb Tombstone skeletons as much as possible.
I think it might just do its job, especially with that fireball.
Wow.
Yep, there we go.
Wow, Ice Golem even blows up the Tombstone spawns. How great.
How many swings? 1,
Two.
2, get third! Oh.
It takes a long time to pull that big ham fist back.
Big ol' ham fist.
Guy should get into MMA.
He really should. What's he doing here?
Got Shaq gloves.
Giant, if you can hear us.
You don't usually die in MMA, right? But you die in Clash Royale.
But are they really dead because they come right back?
Yeah.
Is that a different giant or is
It's
that
a
the same
different
We should find we should write a book of the philosophy of Clash Royale.
The question is, which is actually more horrifying? The fact that they
ethics
don't
of
die or the
Clash
fact that they do? I think in some ways
This
it's
is
more
the most
horrifying.
existential one we've had yet, actually. We've been living in this thing for 2 months now. Oh, okay, so the Giant's going to lock in, and once again, if he can just get 1 or 2 punches on the tower, that's enough to take it down.
I actually think
Just
Marcel
one.
P is heavily winning these exchanges. I mean,
Big
you're
win for Chief J.
you're in the territory where you can actually fireball, zap, fireball, and I think you can get away with it.
Yeah. Ooh, Bowler, not great to be stuck in the middle of those tombstones there, but I think Marcel P has such a huge elixir advantage because of defending these graveyards well that he's going to be able to pull this off pretty comfortably. You're right, he only needs a little bit more to push through, and his towers are so healthy, even if there was a kind of deadly counter push, as long as it doesn't kill the whole tower, I think he got it.
Fireballs, logs, death damage.
punch.
He's got it all. They
Here
both
coming.
know. Chief J gives the well played down. Here comes one, and here comes number 2, Marcel P, coming back, winning 2 games in a row against Chief J. He will be moving on. Semifinals, Reddit Alpha, keeping it alive.
Why do you look so sad
I'm
from him?
torn, because I like Marcel P. It's his 5th time here. I'd like to see him win a Coronation Day and go on to the crown duel.
Yeah.
But Chief J had double graveyard.
That is true. That is so true.
I know. Okay, Marcel, I guess you get more money. Chief J is going home with a Benjamin
Congratulations.
Franklin in his pocket, though.
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
know, I'm
good.
kind of rooting for myself. I'm like, you've
That's a mountain
been working
champs, right?
so hard, and
Yeah.
you deserve
It'll
some
be
recognition.
bittersweet if he wins because winners of a Coronation Day can't play in future Coronation Days to give people, more chances
Right.
to win. And so if he wins today, that'll be the last we see of Marcel P. until December
Arena battles.
17th or so, yeah.
All right, well, our first replay is ready. Let's go ahead and take a look at just Golem and Graveyard.
Golem Graveyard, I cannot say it enough, but it is one of the most deadly combos of cards that you can play. I mean, just look at this. he's defending so well for so long, but just even right at the end, the last few skeletons that just get a little bit of chip on the tower is enough to make it really big.
Yeah, the skeletons individually do, I think, 85 damage at tournament cap. They do a significant amount. That you only need like 3 to be as much DPS as like a mini P.E.K.K.A. So it's scary.
The only unfortunate thing is it's such an expensive investment for such fragile units that its effect loses it's very easy to take down the skeletons, right? And so it can easily turn bad for you. And in that situation, that's what we saw happen to Chief J. He played that Graveyard. It was a great combo, but 5 elixir invested means he could not defend the top right, and Marcel P ends up taking the tower.
And it's worth mentioning it was a faster cycle too, because you play Graveyard, that's 5 elixir, 1 card. Ella, always good at defending Graveyards, puts down the Ice Golem and the Archers behind it.
Yeah,
that's 2 cards for 5 elixir. You've moved closer back to your next Golem push.
Sure.
So that's like one of the... I know right now Graveyard is really wrecking a lot of people because it's new and people are still learning how to play against it, but don't be shy about playing 2 low-cost cards because not only are you defending the Graveyard, but you're getting closer to back to your win condition and you can keep the pressure up.
You don't want that damage.
No, not at all.
If there is any lesson to learn, this afternoon's Coronation Day is probably one of the biggest lessons, right? Because cycling was really what won Jewish Panda the Coronation. I mean, if he was not able to play the cheap skeleton and the Ice Spirit and really make sure he had the spells ready to go in hand, he might have just lost.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, our next matchup and final matchup is Fetty Wap versus T-Bone.
Fetty Wap.
So T-Bone has been here one more time than Fetty Wap?
I believe this is Fetty Wap's second and this is T-Bone's third.
Yeah, all right. So maybe less nerves than Fetty Wap. We'll see. Fetty Wap representing Altar of Elites and T-Bone Reddit Troopers.
Good news, both of these players are also running Graveyard.
Yay! We still has a chance.
Yeah, there's something in here that'll get through, right?
1 deck each. So Fetty Wap is opening up with his Golem Graveyard deck, very similar to what we just saw out of Chief J. T-Bone, on the other hand, running Royal Giant, Furnace, Skeleton Army, you know, Lightning Log, no Graveyard here, but the Skeleton Army is close enough. We'll be happy.
Interesting that he played
did you
Royal
split the
Giant
Furnace?
in the way back. And typically, we don't see that being super successful, but it looks like Fetty Wap has basically chosen to ignore the fact that it exists, and that's going to earn him a Graveyard. Archer's placed in the back. Golem just getting rid of the Furnace. Golemites will pop. A big log coming down to keep the skeletons in control.
Archers, MVP.
Archer's so good.
Worth mentioning, though, the Archers at the river actually got some shots in, and after the opening exchange, they're about even. Even pretty close in elixir, too. Fetty Wap has a 5 elixir advantage, but there's the Furnace on the board, which kind of, you know, makes it about even.
Yeah.
Ooh, that little frozen ice fire spirit.
He's still kicking. Oh, he jumps.
Oh, it doesn't make
Wow.
it. If that fire spirit would have connected with that tombstone, which it would have if the ice golem hadn't blown up on the first fire spirit, that actually would have chopped it down pretty low and made it easier for this Royal Giant to get in and do some damage. Instead, Royal Giant's got to attack the tombstone.
Now the Royal Giant tags onto the tower. Will get about 3 shots before being taken down. T-Bone has to answer to a Golem pushing across the river, but there is actually no Ice Golem to help assist it. A big zap here, probably, for the Skeleton
The zap
Army.
was actually used in the Mega Minion duel.
Oh, yes,
So Zap's
that's
out of his
right.
hand right now.
Archers.
However, he
Archers
still has
being
log.
played.
We might see another log here to clear out these Golemites.
It's
Oh no!
so good. Every time Archers is played, I just want to like zoom in on them because there's a great story that's told every time. Like one of the sisters shot one right before the skeleton killed the other sister, and it was just so epic.
And that's why I keep making Bad Boys 2 references.
Oh, good.
The thing to note, though, is that the Graveyard actually does a pretty significant amount of chip damage, despite the fact that if you only play Archers, Graveyard will still get a bit of damage done. 816 health is pretty scary against the Golem deck.
And actually, both of these players are vulnerable to the next successful push. I don't like that T-Bone is leaking elixir right now because you need every bit of it if you're going to get that 1,000 damage on the tower.
Here comes
right
the
by.
next Graveyard, and that almost
They're
certainly
trading.
means a tower down. And I don't know about that Fireball. I think you're incentivized to take down the Tombstone. Actually, it's going to do a bump, and that's going to buy him 3 seconds
3
of time.
seconds.
And he's
the
zapped
zap
the delay
stops
again.
it. Lightning! Just too late.
Wow.
It's coming
Tears.
down to a few seconds, and Fetty Wap is picking up game number 1 here.
Fetty Wap identified a winning line of play and went for it.
Yeah.
He pushed all in.
Well
he knew,
done.
hey, I'm going to commit X amount of elixir, and the way I'm going to delay myself from losing this game for this last amount of seconds that are remaining, Tombstone to bump, and then the zap to get that 0.5 seconds.
Insane.
And that just, Royal Giant does a lot of damage, but ever since Royal Giant had its hit speed reduced, its damage over time has actually been significantly reduced. Early on, those first couple shots come in hard and fast, but it's about 1.5 seconds between
You gotta
shots.
load the cannon now.
It takes a while. So
Yeah.
in that case, he just thought, Graveyard builds up really quick. If those skeletons can build up, the damage is whoop through the roof real quick.
Yeah.
Slow, steady for the Royal Giant. He was able to buy time with that Tombstone. Archers were chipping the damage down a little bit. Just barely survived by the hair of his chinny chin chin. With that lightning
Literally.
hit and one more shot from the Royal Giant, that tower's down. We're going into overtime.
And-
I wish we could
Golem deck.
freeze frame it right there to see how far that cannonball was, because we already saw like second time today we saw the lightning strike at the end of
With no damage.
no
done
damage.
at
Game of
all.
pixels.
That's right. That's right. So-
I wanted to ask you about Royal Giant.
Yes.
I've never played him before.
Okay.
How do you create like a nice little cushy deck around Royal Giant?
Royal Giant is one of the most popular cards on the ladder because it's an all-in-one card. It's both got the health of a tank,
Right.
and it does damage all on its own. Unlike something like Golem and Giant, which needs the backup, if you could just keep that Royal Giant alive, it'll do everything for you. So what you often see is cards like not just Mega Minion, but regular minions that can fly ahead and kill anything that might be in front of it. You also see spells like Log, Zap, Fireball, even things like Lightning sometimes to help kill the other things you might see. Really, kind of like Expo, play it at the river, guard it, and it'll do all the work for you.
Okay.
There we go, guys. Fetty Wap, one more game away from moving on to be our final semifinalist. Let's see if Tebow can stop that.
You know what I think's really interesting is anytime we see these battles, you always hear maybe haters on the forum. They always say things
Hate
like,
up.
trophy count doesn't matter. Those people are just pay to win. The trophy count doesn't matter. Let me tell you, almost every single player we've seen in this tournament has had 4,500 trophies or more. I mean, the 4,000 mark seems to be proof positive
Good
that you
player.
are a solid player. Absolutely.
What was
Bowler.
that crazy number we saw the other day?
46,000.
Yeah.
That was from Lucifer. That
He
cheating
rigged
guy.
the system.
That cheating guy.
Oh, gonna hit the tower?
Ooh, the bowler. Yeah.
Gonna hit the tower again?
No, falls
Oh,
back a little
doesn't
bit.
quite get it.
No, this is unfortunate because the Royal Giant doesn't have too much health for the cost. Oh, but look
Oh.
at that. The lightning is not maybe the most effective answer. It allows the fire spirits to lock on. Wow. Pretty good.
Yeah. Fire spirits do a lot of damage, combined with the fact that the Royal Giant got a few good shots off. 3 digits of health, 1 minute 30 remaining. That is a lot of damage to be taking.
Let's see if he lightnings it again. No, he doesn't. He opts for the skeleton army, which quickly overwhelms the slow-firing musketeer.
And I think this giant really is only just gonna get the furnace, and the skeletons are gonna chew him up.
T-Bone really likes to have that furnace down at all times because it forces your opponent to commit some elixir to defend it. If you just don't do anything against a furnace, it's going to continue to chip that tower down slowly but surely. So it forces Fetty Wap, who might want to be saving up towards 10 elixir, to go, fine, like bowler early, musketeer early.
I'll lightning it.
And then it makes his pushes not that effective. That was just a giant and a musketeer, and we know this deck can put together bigger, scarier pushes than that.
Here comes the Royal Giant from the back. Interesting that this Royal Giant is being played more in a save for the future method rather than a punish you for dropping big cards. And big reason for that might be because Bowler Giant is only 5 elixir apiece rather than a Golem's 8 that we've been seeing a lot. And it seems to be working out for T-Bone.
Save Marcher, save the furnace. Oh, furnace got it.
Oh, and I think that might reach. It does. This is a great time to attack. That's why you're seeing the giant at the river right there. He really wants to try to take advantage of the fact that 6 elixir that doesn't really defend itself came onto the board, but Skeleton Army, a low cost and effective answer to that giant.
It's so tough for Fetty Wap because he wants to make sure that that zap gets rid of all the skeletons. Even leaving 3 of them alive, as we saw, is really not super effective for the 2 elixir that you spend.
Oh, this might be the lethal Royal Giant. Oh,
just
great
in
timing on the
time.
tombstone, but we see that log play again.
1, 2.
And the lightning. Wow, T-Bone wins it back, tying it up 1-1. I really like the way that he employed this Royal Giant. I think he really forced Fetty Wap out of options. It really seemed like, hey, I'm gonna play this Royal Giant in the back, and no matter what line of play you come up with, you're still not gonna earn yourself an equal trade.
Yeah, honestly, we're not even done with this match. This might be match of the day already. These decks are so cool, so different. We're seeing some really great plays and some really close games. And the final match, we're going to see the first appearance of Lava Hound against Giant Bowler.
Yeah, we got Inferno Dragon in this one as well.
Inferno Dragon might be showing its buff stuff here against so many ground-based, high hit point troops. If that Inferno Dragon can dodge all the little tombstone skeletons, it can do some work.
Take notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start writing
Well,
this
that's
down.
right. You gotta really look, because I think actually, oh no, there's a lot of legendaries in this deck. Also
Never mind.
Graveyard. So yeah, Christian, you won't be building this deck anytime soon, but
Right.
take some notes on how to play this Inferno Dragon. It's gonna be pretty good.
You'll get there eventually,
That hurt your feelings?
maybe.
Yeah. All right, that's it. All right. You guys can show.
Bye.
That's fine.
And we're going to the game.
Oh man, I don't know if he's ever coming back.
So you mentioned that you liked how he put the furnace out there. That was really clever. Is that good for just that deck, or should people at home take note and like use that tactic?
I think it works really well in a Royal Giant deck because the
Okay.
best time to play Royal Giant is right after your opponent's committed elixir to try, on the
Right.
board, because then they have less than 10 elixir and you can go in with the full Royal Giant play. So Furnace there, you have to answer it, and if you answer it before you're at 10 elixir, well then you're at low elixir, and that's when you can
Right.
send in the Royal Giant. It also works well in Royal Giant because if you play it at the river, and then they do something like minions to kill it, the Fire Spirits will just boop boop, blow those things up and protect your Royal Giant. More so than Tombstone, which really doesn't protect the Royal Giant as strong.
All right, Fetty Wap and T-Bone now tied up 1-1.
Oh,
The
you came
next
back.
game is. Oh, guys, stop. I'm over here in the couch. The next game
throwing
is
your
gonna
tantrum.
be the determination of a semifinalist. Who's it gonna be?
Little skeleton kisses get interrupted by a very rude bowler.
Whoa.
I actually like the idea of Inferno Dragon Graveyard. I think pulling units behind the tower is actually really great for the Inferno Dragon.
Absolutely. Ooh, and look at that, the Mega Minion's too far away. The range on the Inferno Dragon is not too long, but it's relevant enough. The zap resets it just like an Inferno Tower
Tags
would.
onto the skeleton, no!
Oh no!
Not the
that log.
giant! But the Lava Hound actually makes it to the tower, and I think that Musketeer is not really going to be able. Oh god!
That's brutal.
That is the thing that makes you cry in bed.
An Inferno Dragon has been sitting in the back line the whole time, and that tower's nearly dead. If I came home, I was like, what did you do, Inferno? We left you at home and we trusted
We gave you one job, Inferno Dragon.
I like skeletons.
And we mentioned you got to dodge those tombstone skeletons. That's exactly what didn't happen there. There were two skeletons that he started to warm up on the giant, gets zapped, resets, targets on one skeleton, kills it slowly, targets on the next skeleton, kills it slowly, and then locks onto the giant. And the whole time, the giant's just pounding away with his ham fists on the tower.
Hold on. So now, if you're T-Bone right now, how do you bait out the arrows so that Fetty Wap can't use them on your Inferno or your Lava Hound?
I think that's really a big thing why you would build your deck with something like Minions or Minion Horde. Minion Horde is often the ideal choice for Lava Hound decks just because it's so much damage that your opponent feels like they almost have to respond to it.
And I'm going to agree with that there. The answer is, in this deck,
You don't.
you don't.
Oh no.
The only other thing that's really a good arrow target is the graveyard itself. So now that we're in double elixir time, I think this is the time for T-Bone to really make a big push, try to bait out those arrows with maybe a graveyard or something, and then the Lava Hound can pop and it's all right.
Okay. All right.
I think now's the better time than any, and here it comes. The graveyard is played. Giant is trying to soak it up, but the left side. No! What are you
Oh,
doing?
no, the King Tower!
Oh my God! He did not get the proper mission files. It was like, this is the building that we're going to, right, guys?
You're right, kill the king, absolutely. No!
Oh, no. Assassin.
In their defense, they're brain dead.
That's true. They just woke up. They're just trying to figure out what's going on in life. They're swinging.
T-Bone, game 3, not able to close out a few critical errors, and of course, the unfortunate aspect of going up against someone with arrows against your Lava Hound deck. Fetty Wap wins 2-1 and advances.
Woo! Congratulations, Fetty Wap. You are our final semifinalist here in Coronation Day number 10. Clash Round North America opens.
Okay, so both of our legendaries were in that deck.
Yeah.
What?
So just give me yours.
What
and we're fine.
notes do we need to take from that?
Perhaps get good. No,
Get good.
Actually, I think his deck
Sucks to
was
suck.
not. His deck. Yeah, that's what the bowler was. Actually, it's his new thing. It sucks to suck. Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, but I think what that showed how complicated Lava Hound decks are. I mean, you know that you need a miner or a lumberjack or something that can get in to tank for the lava pups. You also want supporting air troops. You also need things to bait out arrows.
Yeah.
And I would say more than any other archetype, Lava Hound is a deck where every single one of your 8 cards need to have a very explicit purpose in your push. And I think that T-Bone's deck, while strong in a lot of ways, had a lot of vulnerabilities, like bumped into a deck with arrows and there was nothing else to bait the arrows
I was gonna
out.
say
No.
that makes sense.
I mean, even just Lava Hound Graveyard, that's 7 elixir, or I'm sorry, 12 elixir, 7 plus 5, that can be countered pretty easily. If there was like an Inferno Tower, or of course like the Archers or Ice Golem to block the graveyard, you're out of luck. You just spent a lot of elixir on a push that didn't do too much damage.
Yeah. All right, well, our first replay of that final round of 8 matches up. Let's go ahead and pull one up here.
I think in this series, T-Bone came with very interesting decks, but really it just proves how much more effective Golem Graveyard is compared to something like Lava Hound Graveyard, or even in some ways the Freeze Graveyard that we saw earlier. I think Golem Graveyard is definitely the deck that I feel the most comfortable with.
Now watch this. This is gonna be key here. It's locked onto the giant. Zap resets. Targets skeleton number
Skeletons.
1.
And
Skeleton number 2.
Oh, no.
Now the giant to warm up again, but at that point, like, oh man, look how much damage you're already taking from the giant and the bowler. It just wasn't enough. And then he turns around and I think locks onto more skeletons.
He's just as distractible as the Pekkas.
Absolutely.
The
And
Pekka family.
We see how Tombstone, for only 3 elixir, is such a good harassment card. It can really just throw a monkey wrench into
starting
your
using it.
plans. Well, you started using
Yeah,
it? See?
great.
You're learning. Watching the Clash Royale North American Open is the #1 way, I think, to become a better player, because you're seeing the best in the world,
Yeah.
innovating with new decks, and you're seeing all the little interactions. It's easy to be frustrated and lose a game and go, this game's stupid, it's just random, but it's not random. All of these little things matter.
A camera
guy
guy
goes,
goes,
he's
yep.
like, he's like this, yep, that's
He
how I
literally
feel.
did that earlier today.
Jordan's like,
Yeah.
almost broke my phone.
But it's not like that. It's very, very accurate. It's almost pinpoint accuracy and timing to be the best players in the game. We've already got 9 players who are at that level of skill,
Yeah.
and we're going to crown another one tonight.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go with him now and pull up our bracket finally, as we do have our 4 semifinalists of Coronation Day number 10. It is up first Aopa versus EPRU, and next Marcel P versus Fetty Wap. Rumham, Rainey, before we go to the quick break, out of the 4 players that have made it on, which one do you think is playing just a little bit above the rest?
I would actually, out of all the players, I think EPRU might have played the best in the round of 8.
Okay.
I would say EPRU. If not EPRU, then maybe Marcel P. It's hard to say because Aopa had kind of a dead game.
Yeah.
The first game, so it's,
Well, he's
it's
been
hard
in
to
the finals
say.
before, so
Yes.
here's the thing. I'm pretty sure you're going to end up rooting for whoever comes out of the EPRU Aopa matchup, because it's the double goblin barrel.
It's gonna be a
absolutely.
goblin barrel.
I'm excited for that.
And I want to never see Marcel P again because he wins today. That's
What a great love-hate.
Yeah.
A great love-hate thing
But
to
of course,
say there.
Fetty Wap's been, actually all 4 of these players have not just made, but this is actually, they're all multiple time
Yeah.
top 4
Returnees.
appearances.
Yeah.
They're all running very strong, powerful decks out there. We got a good variety. Got Goblin Barrel, Hog Rider, Golem, Miner, Giant Bowler, Graveyard. Like there's
I love it.
Everything.
I love
This is
it.
2 or 3 coronations in a row where the variety in the top 4 has just been
And
A+.
no
Great.
Expo.
No Expo. Well, yesterday we had an Expo deck.
Right, sorry, today. No
But
Expo.
today, no Expo, not at all in the top 8 once again.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing to note about today in particular compared to the other days is everybody seems to really be embracing Graveyard now. I mean, there were a few early pioneers that were kind of scouting the lands and trying to, see what was going on,
Where
but
should these skeletons go?
yeah, where shall these skeletons go? But today it seems like people are really starting to push mainstream for Graveyard, and a lot of them fell, but a lot of them made it as well, and that's kind of what's sticking out to me is this card has been really hotly discussed because I think compared to any other card, it's one of the most unique that Supercell has implemented.
Absolutely. It really feels like a legendary spell. I mean, one of the big complaints with Log when it first came out was like, oh, it's a legendary and it's a spell, but it just kind of feels like
Arrows.
a different
spell.
sort of zap or arrows.
Yeah.
Whereas Graveyard feels like a legendary. When you hear the dun 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 dun, you're like,
It's coming.
You know, I'm really shocked though that it hasn't been Miner Graveyard. I mean, I think when the card was first announced, everyone thought like, oh yeah, like the Miner pops up in the Graveyard Skeletons, and that's like the combination. But in fact, it's been big buff tanks that are
I'm thinking
holding
Hog
up.
Graveyard. That's
Yeah.
what I want to do.
Yeah.
I
So,
think, yeah.
if you're on Twitter right now,
Yard.
tweet at us who you think is going to take this tonight. #ClashNA Open. I'm really curious. This is a tough matchup.
Yeah.
today.
Also, thank you for sending us your haikus there. When we come back to the rank, we will be reading those. And thank you for letting us know who you want to read them. So do not go anywhere. When we come back, it is Aopa versus EPRU. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hog, think about it.
He's like,
More These are the rules of the duel. All duels must have appropriately epic music.
Clash Royale! Pick a fight with everyone! Clash Royale! It's got lightning and skeletons! Duel players in real time! Destroy towers in real time!
While your troops take a stand, now you've got the upper hand. Destroy the king and win the crown and clash
Royale!
That was a rule of the duel, a most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. Anything goes in the arena, and anything goes inside the goblin hunt. Anything. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. The grass in the arena must be properly cut. It's a full-time job. That was the rule of the duel. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. The winner takes the loser's trophies. And their dignity. That was a rule of the duel. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale.
Good evening, Clashers and Clashettes, and welcome back to the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Open.
That opening gets me so hyped
Man,
every
it's the
time.
I want them to just keep
We have
playing
a
on a
band.
loop.
You know
while
what
we
my
have the
favorite
finals.
part of the opening is? There's a scene in the opening where there's a barrel that flies. Okay.
The gun. Makes sense. Makes sense. We guys are in the semifinals of Coronation Day number 10. Again, only a few more of these to go. We have already crowned 9 champions so far. This will be our 10th, and then after this, 6 more. And boom, that's it. That is done. Those Coronation Days are happening Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On the Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays, it is 6 o'clock p.m. And on Thursdays, it is 8 o'clock p.m. Just 2 more Thursdays to go, 12 and 16, and then done. The arena battles will then begin. We saw an awesome hype trailer from them. Excited to see what that is, what all is going to ensue.
Ooh, I mean,
Craziness.
the arena battles are going to be kind of a mystery, even to the 4 of us here on the couch. Those are going to be the most ridiculous.
They're going to be crazy.
The 16, I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
Sweet, and again, that's what they're moving on to. Then after that, they're going on to the crown duels. 8 of them will be, for that chance at $15,000 and a chance to go to see Supercell HQ. So that's going to be an amazing trip.
Nice.
Helsinki. Been there, done that?
Beautiful.
Check.
A lot of cool, great museums, excellent food, like amazing food.
really good
actually.
food?
Oh my God, yeah, out
Really?
of control. I might go there to eat
Okay.
again.
All right.
I would love to go.
Yeah, come
I
on.
would love to go.
You know what else you would love to do right now?
What's that, Ella?
Listen to me read haiku.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Today's haiku was sent to us from Bash 770.
I can see it.
Rum ham is my gem. So shiny, so smooth. His head.
Oh boy.
Gonna buy some gems.
Hey, Bash 717.
my
Well
goodness.
done.
Bash, I hate you so much.
Do you know that guy?
yeah, he hangs out in my Twitch streams and trolls me there too, for what it's
Good for
worth.
him.
Oh,
Bash,
my
thank you. Welcome over to the Clash Royale North American Open. Thank you for supporting
Come on
Rum Ham.
over. Come join us on the
Supercell
couch.
should pay you money. You are an actual advertisement for gems. He said because of you, he's going to buy more gems.
Can you buy my hair back?
Oh no.
Do gems do that?
Well, I could wear them like a really awful shiny toupee, maybe.
That would be
Just-
amazing. Don't say awful. That would be absolutely brilliant.
Maybe
I'm-
not. Maybe don't do that.
I'm sure all you guys would love seeing that. Also, I know what you guys love to do. If you're watching this on Facebook, click that share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're watching this on Twitch, give us a follow. We really, really would appreciate that. All right, now we are in the semifinals, so let's go ahead and pull up the bracket. If you guys are now just tuning in, this is what's happened thus far. Aopa, EPRU are 2 members facing off next, and Marcel P and Fetty will be after them. 2 of those people will be moving on to the finals. Mr. Man's dad out. Middle Sky, our new member here, is out. Chief J getting knocked out by Marcel P, and finally T-Bone falling just to Fetty Wap. So far, quickly, if people are just tuning in, Rum Ham Rainey, quick little summary, fun highlights, things that have happened so far.
As far as the summary goes, lots of people playing Giant Bowler, lots of people playing Golem. The big difference is that everybody's trying to buy into Graveyard right now. The other thing too is this semifinals match coming up is double Goblin Barrel. Each of them have a minor Inferno Goblin Barrel Zap Bait control cycle deck.
Yeah, the first time it's actually happened, if we were to pull the decks up and take a look at them, we'll see that it'll be the only time we've ever had 2 Goblin Barrel decks
Face
play
off
each other
against it.
in the North American Open. Normally there's one rogue barrel throwing player, and now we got 2.
I love it. I'm so excited. So which E player should I root for? Because you know E, that's my name.
Yeah.
I usually you only have one E player, and you just root for the one E player. Now I'm so torn.
I think you got to go for Aopa because he's got your Hog Rider.
Yeah,
The
true.
log that you want
True.
so badly is in that deck,
True.
and his other deck has the Princess.
Yeah, it's exactly the
Okay, you won me over there.
So now, question: like you were hoping that we see the Goblin Barrel mirror off against each other, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it technically could not happen, but we're really hoping it does happen.
Yes.
If that does happen, what's it really going to come down to? Is it the first Goblin Barrel with the first damage is technically just going to win because eventually they'll take it in the long run, or?
Patience.
I actually
it's a
think-
virtue that brings its
Yes.
own Crown Tower wins. They're actually playing 8-card exact decks, as you just saw, so it's really going to come down to, like, if you ever get caught without a log,
Done.
done.
That's
But
damage.
Both of them have Minion Horde and no arrows, so you're either going to have to Fireball or Princess each other's Minion
Oh,
Horde.
interesting.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of. What do you think, Rainey? Rainey's a much more experienced Goblin Barrel player than I am.
the king.
I actually think that the Goblin Barrel in the mirror match will not be the biggest card to be played. I actually think that the the cards that you will see being most effective are going to be things like the Princess, the Minion Horde, because people will have to respect the Goblin Barrel so much, but if you spend your resources taking down the Goblin Barrel, then the Princess, the Minion Horde, these are the cards that really get to cash in.
Well, already it's Golem up top for the red player. We do have, though, the Goblin Barrel deck down below. So the key here is Aopa. Well, actually, for our sake, we might be rooting for EPRU.
Yeah.
But if Aopa, who is looking to win every game he can, is going to try to punish any Goblin or any Golem plays as soon as they come out.
Nice long there.
We saw this in his earlier matches too. The reason why you would go with the early Inferno Tower is that you know a Golem's not coming down anytime soon, unless we see a River Golem or
Free
something.
defense.
So this Princess is going to be the first free to walk around without a log to remove it. And Mega Minion is going to be the card utilized. That means that EPRU is down a Mega Minion, essentially.
One swing.
One of the few things that you can actually take and not, it's good to know, you can take one Princess shot with your Mega Minion and it'll still threaten the tower and do a little bit.
Miner pops up in the middle position. Baby Dragon is actually well positioned.
Oh, it didn't hit the Baby Dragon. Oh, the shadow. I got to aim for the shadow.
I've learned so much because of that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. On the ladder now I know where to hit flying units.
You can actually see, because even though the Baby Dragon looks like it's further back, you see the shadow is only about 2 to 3 squares off of the tower, and that's actually where it was. That fireball looked like it was going to be a ton of value hitting the Baby Dragon tombstone and both archers. Turns out it only got the archers and the tombstone. Still a good fireball, but the Baby Dragon runs free.
There's a log. I actually think the response here is to play Princess at the river, just to make sure that you get some damage onto the tower, but he's going to play Princess to defend.
Right, and that'll keep the Mega Minion from getting any damage on the tower unless you get lightning, of course.
Unless that happens.
It's such a tough situation because you want to make sure that you get damage on the tower somehow. Goblin Barrel is not going to do that very consistently for you because you know your opponent is going to respect that option. And so you need to find some way to get your other cards to actually make it through and put numbers onto the tower, because that's what wins you the game. I said that statement so many times, and it's because it's the most important thing right now.
The miner, I know we're already kind of going back to the last push, but that miner in the front left corner was not an accident. He wanted to play that miner forward on the tower instead of behind to draw any archers, baby dragons, anything like that to turn around and hit the miner to let the minion horde go free.
Well, we're now in double elixir time here, and that's when Golem shines.
And here's another Inferno Tower just in the nick of time.
Away from lightning range, I believe, the Skeleton Army is going to do a pretty good job. No, but it gets logged away. Archers are actually contributing to that push. That's a very, very, very healthy Golem, and lightning's going to remove it. Minion Horde? No, it's not going to kill the... the log? No, but the minions have already given up on it. The log was just a little bit too late, and I think that might be the end of the game for Aopa.
Because remember, Golemites do explosion damage on their own, so unless this goes down,
EPRU picking up the first victory of our semifinals here. One more game, and he's moving on to the finals.
That's actually, you know what I just noticed? In that push,
that's what we wanted.
EPRU.
Bad news, bad news for Aopa, good news for us, because we might see the Goblin Barrel mirror.
EPRU actually spent the log to eliminate the skeletons, the skeleton army that was on the Golem. I actually think there might have been a world where Aopa could have played off a win by spending 6 elixir and playing Minor Goblin Barrel as a response while the Golem is dilly-dallying in the middle of the map, take down the tower in overtime. Yeah. And I think that might have been a winning situation. It's very risky, of course, because I'm not sure what EPRU had in hand.
Yeah, he ended up going with the Minion Horde because he thought that he could maybe kill the Golem successfully. But you're right, the archers, the Baby Dragon actually came down and not only pulled some of the minions away, but also it's pretty good against minions with the area of effect spit damage. Only a few minions tagged onto the Golem, and it wasn't enough to burn it down. And by the time it got to the tower, in hindsight, yeah, maybe going all in would have worked. They would have traded towers, gone into overtime. Then who knows what could happen?
What kind of deck would Aopa's deck really be good against?
Goblin Barrels. What is Goblin Barrel really good
It's actually pretty decent against Golem decks. I think he was never really in control of the tempo of the game. Normally you want to be really quickly attacking. Those logs on all those early Goblin Barrels are really tough.
Shut it down.
Yeah, and you're also falling behind an elixir when that happens.
Yes! Wow, we've got it! There it is!
The Skeleton Army is actually a pretty good defense,
What
and
a
that
cool
log
thing to
is actually
see.
off the table. Ooh, Princess is going to do, but you can win the Princess duel here.
I think they might kill each other. Oh, it does get
Oh, just in the nick
The way
of
to
time.
tell is if the other princess shoots before the first arrows hits her. That's how you know.
This is going to be a big test of strength here. Who knows their mirror matchup better? Who knows their own deck's weaknesses a little better? The Skeleton Army is going to be really effective against both Miner and the Goblin Barrels, so using those effectively, avoiding the logs, all very important.
Wow. All right, so now we have mirror matchups here with Goblin Barrels. Are we going to see way more mind games, or are these?
He's trying to predict the Skeleton Army, but does
For
not
it.
place. So the big thing is Fireball actually has a limited range, and so it's very difficult to eliminate the entirety of the Skeleton Army. But still, a lot of damage put onto that left side tower. EPRU is really playing well.
If
Princess is guarded.
If you pre-log your Goblin Barrel, will the log actually go? How far past the tower does it go?
I think it goes to the back, and it'll go like all the way through the tower, I guess.
Okay.
So depending on if you were to say throw your Goblin Barrel up front instead of surrounding it,
yeah.
and then throw the log with it, that actually might work.
Needs to
Ooh,
play
they're a little
spell
behind.
with it.
Oh no, but they're attacking the Skeleton Army instead.
Pretty even though still.
Yeah, the Princess really caught up in damage.
Yeah, the one of the smartest things we saw there was actually fireballing the enemy
There it is,
Princess
there it
to guard.
is.
and this is a
there's
big
goal.
option.
Yes! One Goblin! One Goblin got a couple stabs in. That's got to be pretty good. Oh, I love this match already.
This is so good.
So great.
I love the pre-fired fireball. And here you go. So let's see if the Miner pops up. Ooh.
Oh, wow. One
Miner
shot each.
Yeah.
Wow, that was almost like a zap there. That actually worked out better for Aopa. I'm sorry, better for EPRU, even though. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
One minion survives.
Gotta play a spell alongside this Goblin Barrel.
Miner's doing work, bottom left.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, wow.
this is what we're talking about, right? The Goblin
Yep.
Barrel itself is actually not going to be the key card because so many resources are going to be dedicated to making sure it gets taken down. It's actually the smaller cards like the Miner, like the Minion Horde, like the Princess that's going to be doing the majority of the damage. And
This
there
mi-
we see the
Let's
Minion
not
Horde
underrate
is
this
it.
Minion Horde. This thing can actually take that tower down.
Wow.
It is. It's going to.
Wow.
Whoa, EPRU with the fake out.
That.
This is the way this matchup plays out because really it's the player who can use the collection of his cards that's really going to win it. Goblin Barrel is just a part of the whole.
Yes. Wow, so we were wondering what the key play was going to be there, and it turns out the key play was Minion Horde at the river to defend against a Princess. Nothing I think we would have predicted.
Yeah, Inferno Tower just being popped down just because there, and EPRU is going to take a 2-0 against Aopa.
Is looking really, really good. For a play that I hadn't really heard about until the Coronation days, has been kind of the player that has been sticking out to me in terms of like, this guy is real, right? This guy is the real
He's a
deal.
real person.
You're the
I mean,
real
3
deal,
coronations in a
EPRU.
row he's made the top 8, and now
good.
slowly I think improving. I think he got bumped in the top 8 the first time, made it to the semifinals in the last coronation day.
interesting. Now he's
and
on the finals.
First time in the finals. Aopa.
Moving on up.
We didn't even see the Hog Rider in the semifinals,
Nope,
unfortunately,
not a chance.
but goes from finals last time, top 4 this time. I think definitely a threat to take one of the last spots, but not today, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let's see our first replay. Golem Lightning.
Yeah,
What was going on here?
Golem Lightning, and really the Lightning was spent to remove the Princess rather than the Inferno Tower, and that can really be credited to the fact that EPRU was able to play archers on the river and have that contribute to taking the Inferno Tower health lower, and earned him a fantastic Golem push.
Yeah, it's unfortunate those minions doubled back to fight that baby dragon. Great placement, great reaction time by EPRU to know, like, all right, Minion Horde's coming in. I needed to pull them away, and he did it very effectively. Look at this. Minion Horde, we saw it happen actually.
So great.
We saw it happen the first time. It was the Minion Horde at the river. The Princess shot them, and it wasn't very effective. Did it again the next time, a little bit better timing, and there just wasn't an answer in hand for that.
Yeah, so now Minion Horde, if it's just like it's uncontested by itself,
Yeah.
how many shots from the tower does it take to take him down?
I think it kills the tower, full health. And if you think about it, we mentioned that one of the best things in those decks to fight it was either a fireball or the Princess. Well, if you
Right.
kill the Princess with the Minion Horde, you at least know Princess isn't coming down.
Sure.
And I think the fireball had just come out with the last Miner push. Like, it
So you're
was-
free?
Yeah, so
That's a
he
free
just,
tower.
Aopa looked at his hand and went,
Uh-oh.
none of these cards,
Free
you know.
minions.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right, well, our bracket is now updated because, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our first finalist of Coronation Day number 10. It is EPRU. Now, the question is, who will join him? Will it be Marcel P for his 3rd time in the finals, or will it be Fetty Wap? Rainey, what's your predictions?
I predict
Yeah.
Marcel P.
Wow.
Marcel P. So, incidentally,
What character was that?
I don't
Was that
know.
the witch?
That was
Evil
somebody.
scientist.
No, witch just
Evil
goes,
scientist.
oh.
Oh yeah,
She's
that's true.
Witch is an opera singer. She's beautiful.
Evil scientist. I predict Marcel P. By the way, just to toot my own horn a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I predicted EPRU, and EPRU moved on.
Very good point.
I'm
He
gonna
has been playing exceptionally well. I mean, they were both, in the last match, they were just kind of poking each other, trying to find a weakness, and EPRU found the crack in the armor to push through and win. This next matchup is going to be very interesting because,
Let's bring up their decks.
yeah, there's only about 2 cards different between both decks. Like, they're running almost identical
yeah,
cards. The Giant Bowler decks, Fetty Wap is running triple spells, and instead, Marcel P is running Ice Golem in place of one of the spells. In the Golem decks, there is Baby Dragon swapped out for Graveyard and Lightning swapped out for Fireball. As well as a Log Zap trade-off.
Okay.
What are they?
Sorry, is Fireball taken out to, or put in instead of Lightning to make it just a little bit cheaper? Is that really important for what Fetty Wap's bringing?
Yeah, because if you think that Ice Golem, or I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look at it. Basically trying to cut down the cost there. I mean, if you're going to play Graveyard, a 5-cost card that doesn't always get its elixir value back, like there's a lot of times where you get a little damage in, but it gets countered by like a 3 or 4-cost card. You're going to want other cheap cards. I also think the Fireball is in there to support the Graveyard because they're going to counter with Archers. You can Fireball the Archers, whereas Lightning is more expensive and not really something you want to cast on just Archers.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Anything here? We got a Musketeer hanging out in the Giant Bowler deck too instead of Archers.
Okay, what's the difference going to be there?
Well, we've seen, actually, Fireball's becoming back in popularity. We mentioned how that card wasn't very popular. Partially because Lightning was so good, but now people are playing Archers to get around Lightning, and thus people are switching to Fireball to kill the Archers, and now people are going back to Musketeer to get around it. The meta is a circle.
But now we are in our second semifinals match, Marcel P versus Fetty Wap. Can Marcel P finally do it? Can he make it to the finals and take it? Let us know what you think. And here he is leaking that elixir again.
Fetty Wap, well, hey, to be fair, it takes 2 to tango, so they're going to both do that. Fetty Wap, the same guild, Altar of Elites, as Ash, who has made it very far in this tournament, finished 9th at the King's Cup, so yet another probably underrated clan about how strong they are. I want to see one of these games where they just both leak elixir into double 2x elixir time. We've gotten very close. We had one that went, I think, until like 40 seconds left. And then they started playing cards. River Golem.
Fetty Wap decides to play the Golem first. We'll see how far this one goes. Uh-oh. Maybe
the Archers are already played.
Already committed.
Oh, wow.
Oh, great Ice Golem commitment. That's going to absorb a lot of skeletons.
Skeletons in the back. Look at the skeletons in the back. There's 2 of them. That one has actually had a field day with the tower. He lived a grand total of about 5 seconds.
There it is.
That's a lot of seconds.
Half health, just like that.
And you see now, to go back to a few coronations ago when I made fun of Marcel, he's like, just split the Archers behind your King Tower. That's why. River Golem plus Graveyard makes that play suddenly very bad, and that's why so many of these good players are willing to leak elixir early in the match. Making the wrong first move can really come back to bite you. He just took 1,300 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, because he committed his Archers.
Right.
That's the big card that was. He had the Ice Golem, that's one part to the whole, but he did the Archers. Golem makes his way across the bridge, and Baby Dragon is going to try to push down as many skeletons as it can. River Golem is actually going to stop the Baby Dragon from keeping those skeletons. He's
got Archers in hand as well. He's ready for it.
And I think that Fetty Wap might not actually go for it.
I think he knows. It's one of the. They're in a standoff right here.
Oh, wow.
Archers are down. Baby Dragon's down.
Delayed.
Oh, and the Fireball was ready. He didn't want to cast it until he had the ready Fireball.
Oh, that makes sense.
So he could Fireball the Archers.
There's damage.
Wow.
400? About 400.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And he's ahead in Elixir after all that as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
You're
my
right.
God. That's crazy. I mean, if you think about, we talk about inevitability a lot in decks. Like, you know that you're going to win by, if you put your plan together, it's unanswerable. And in a lot of ways, this Golem Graveyard deck is a lot like that. You've got the Golem down, you've got the Graveyard to do a lot of damage and Swarm, you've got the Fireball to deal with any counters they play. He knows that he can inevitably do that damage, and that's why Marcel P is switching to the other side here.
You just got to go for it.
Got to go for it.
You have to be careful not to be 3-crown. I think that's about as much elixir as Marcel P can invest. He needs to turn around and defend.
Can't do it though. Mega Minion doesn't lock onto the tower in
And
game
time
1.
runs out. Fetty Wap taking the first victory here of the semifinals against Marcel P. One step closer to moving on to the finals. Marcel P, though, to his credit, last time did go down. Also a game, K-Mac winning 2-0.
Absolutely.
Seen it a lot, not impossible.
It's possible that Fetty Wap's Golem Graveyard deck is the best deck, but we've seen so many times in the double deck format, you have to win with both decks.
Yeah.
And we've seen so many times the second deck just can't close it out. That's got to be Marcel P's best hope at this point, is he's got to win with both of his decks against a pretty standard Giant Bowler Lightning deck. I mean, it's got Musketeer, Mega Minion, pretty tough all around. Marcel P's
Does he
Golem
switch?
deck.
Or-
I think if I'm Marcel P, I stick with the Golem deck because A, I think I can overwhelm the Giant Bowler, and B, I have Lightning. And with Musketeer, Mega Minion, Bowler,
3 great targets.
lots of
Yeah.
very delicious minor targets or lightning targets.
Random question. It's not going to apply to our coronations at all until I think Rage comes back, which we haven't seen Rage at all
You're
yet.
betting on.
If you Rage a graveyard, do the skeletons pop out quicker?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No. The skeletons will move and attack quicker once
They
they're
won't-
on the field.
they won't spawn
quicker.
Here's the reason why. I'll give you a quick rundown on why. Because Rage, any unit, building, or troop targeted gets its attack speed increased. Spawner buildings like Goblin Hut don't attack, but its attack speed is the spawn rate. So it's actually speeding up its attack speed, which is the speed that it makes
Right.
the goblins, whereas
Okay.
Graveyard is a spell on the ground that has them pop up. It's not, it doesn't have an attack
It's not.
speed. in
Yeah,
that
it's not.
same
It's not a
way.
unit.
Probably
itself.
not the ideal usage of.
I think it'd be so cool.
I think a deck with Rage is probably not the ideal deck.
I just took it out. All right, Fetty Wap 1 game up against Marcel P. If he can take this, he's moving on to the finals.
But Rage Giant Skeleton sounds like such a great idea.
That's when I ran all the way up to Frozen Peak.
So did the Giant Skeleton. Ran really
You
fast.
only needed level 7 giant skeleton to do it.
That's all you needed.
Got him.
Ah, boo roasted.
Interestingly enough, we have seen Giant Skeleton win a tournament. So
Here's the leaking again. I love it. Marcel P's
K102.
Oh, a super magical cap. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the Coronations Day. Giant skeleton.
yet to be seen.
You think about this, though. How many people were doing hashtag make log great again and, love the log and all that stuff, and that got log buffed? We need to do that for giant skeleton. Now let's move on to the next thing.
Man,
It's
I
time.
feel like they just got up and are making a cup of coffee right now.
While we're talking about this, going back to Giant Skeleton, since nothing's happening in this match, just today I was playing against a guy. He had a 21 elixir push. I put a Giant Skeleton down and blew up all of it. It was so good.
You were so happy.
Oh, I was so
Made
happy.
your day.
I shared it in my clan, and everyone said, "Wow,
I said, you're the best, Christian.
you're the best."
I didn't even see it.
All right, now it's starting out.
You know what's interesting is I think almost every single time Marcel P has been able to outweather his opponent and play second.
He's done well.
He's been able to wait for long enough and get his opponent to play first.
Unfortunately for Fetty Wap, did not have a tombstone early in his hand, and so that golem just beeline towards the tower, and with the bowler turned around, the archers take it out.
Wow.
Oh, that baby dragon's got a lot of health to make it to the tower and help contribute.
Oh man.
I think that's actually great for Marcel
Yeah.
P. He forced out a pretty, it's a lightning, and it killed, I guess you could call that 7 elixir worth of troops. So those archers were nearly dead. The baby dragon was already wounded. Fetty Wap pretty much lost his elixir advantage in order to do that, and that lets Marcel P get another double golem push going.
What's great also about Marcel P waiting that entire time and Fetty Wap allowing him, it just lets Marcel P get closer to double elixir.
Right?
Yes.
And I don't know if he meant to
It's
put that
already double
tombstone in that
elixir.
direction.
Yeah.
Again, you'd rather see the skeletons build up on the giant, but instead they're just kind of walking aimlessly into the tower to get killed.
Now finally do the skeletons start building up on the golem for Marcel P. Log comes in, will take down all the skeletons, and there's a big lightning.
Wow.
2 archers actually make their way in, and another big lightning to answer, but now there's no elixir to
Oh, baby
really
dragon.
stop the golemites from doing damage, and this is already a push that Fetty Wap knows is going to pretty much gain its value.
Yeah, and that was one of the few times we've actually seen a lightning not earn its value. That was a 2 elixir ice golem and 3 cost archers, and both of those cards were already kind of damaged. So that was maybe killed 4 elixir worth of troops.
What a bowl there for the bowler, wiping out all those skeletons.
Playing the
the tower's
ice
left
golem
on.
gives the main golem the opportunity to get in front of the tower and tank up a lot of damage, and so it's going to be a question of aiming cards at the supporting line.
Right.
Giant finally does come down, and actually Fetty Wap has elixir enough to still defend against the golem and put up maybe another supporting set of troops for that giant, but
Those
gets
archers
chewed
just
up.
keep on rocking. Rocking in the free world. And actually, the tombstone's going to go down. I don't know if he's going to have tombstone back in cycles soon enough. So this golem might get a chance to beeline. And there's a really good lightning brewing for Marcel P here.
There it is. And Tombstone is going to be played very, very late, and I think Log is the ideal card to play here
Point
for
timed
Marcel
really
P.
well.
Yep. timed really, really well. Giant is going to hold up the supporting troops, so there's no archers coming in from behind doing a lot of damage, but 2 Golemites and an Ice Golem is enough to really make short work of this tower.
Lightning and Baby Dragon.
Yeah, Marcel P really took that game and ran away with it, and this is probably one of the best games to see exactly why Marcel P is so adamant about playing first. Very, very adamant. And I mean, I would love to go back and watch all the games where this has happened with Marcel P and just see, because I'm actually pretty confident that there was only one game where Marcel P played first. Other than that, he's always waited his opponents out.
Very reactionary.
You know what's weird is it seems like it only happens in Marcel P matches.
Oh
too.
yeah, that's it.
I
Like, I
think
don't
it's
know if
a-
other people know that he's going to wait or something, and so they wait for him, like they've scouted him or something.
I
Marcel
know
P
you're
definitely makes a
watching
conscious
you.
decision to do it.
I think it's smart. I mean, I remember when I was first starting to play, Tom, our boss, who's in Legendary Arena, right? He's killing it. The way he climbed so fast, it was saying, I'm only going to play something when someone else plays. Like, I'm only going to play defensively, making sure I get positive elixir trades, and then continue on from there. Because a lot of players, they just don't have that general skill of like, oh yeah, how do I efficiently trade these things? So Marcel P is showing how it's done.
I played him yesterday.
Marcel P?
No.
Tom.
Oh, I was like,
And
whoa.
I was in the Legendary Arena, and I was like, oh, this is what it looks like.
Oh, this is what it feels
I
like.
heard her say,
One day.
I don't have any elixir. How do you still cast things? So, learning
hard.
firsthand, yeah.
It was hard. It was really hard.
All right, so how are these two final decks going to match up against each other? Who has the advantage?
It is Giant Bowler Mirror, although there are some interesting differences between them. Fetty Wap this time has the Lightning. No Lightning for Marcel P. He's got Fireball, and there's not a ton of good Fireball targets. 3 spells for Fetty Wap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them have Tombstones. Marcel P has the Ice Golem, though, which will give him a little bit of trickery at holding up those back lines, although not a lot of skeletons to use on. I think they're really similar decks, but there are some key differences, and whoever plays them better is going to pull this one out.
Well, let's see if Marcel P can take 2 wins in a row going to the finals, or will it be Fetty Wap? Let's find out. Okay, who's going to play first?
Probably not Marcel P.
Let's while we have some time here, I want to
I'd like to recite the Gettysburg Address while I wait for this game to start.
Let's go ahead and pull up Abraham Lincoln, get on in here. So, Roman, we always, kind of going through the decks, you list out how many spells each player is bringing. What is that? Oh, there it is. Fetty Wap playing first, and Marcel going to play after. What is the quote-unquote good amount of spells to bring to a deck? Is there should you always bring a spell? Should you bring no less than 2? It should be no more than 6.
Playing with his boulder.
In the first, when the game first started off, I think it was pretty common to only see 1 spell. Oh, that's actually a great combination there. Real quick, Fireball does not kill a Musketeer. It almost kills a Musketeer, but not quite. So by hitting 1 boulder roll and then dropping the Fireball on, he was able to kill it and actually hold off that push really well. His tower is pristine after his opponent started off with that bowler attack.
Mega Minion will get taken down by the Crown Tower on Marcel P's side, but no damage done for either player.
To answer your question about the spells, this current meta that we see with 3 spells in some decks is unprecedented in Clash Royale history. I can't remember a time when people were willing to play 3 spells. Now, part of that is that there used to not be that many spells, and then over time, a lot of the weaker spells like Log and Lightning have been improved so much that now it's like, all these cards are all good cards, and now I might reasonably want to actually play 2 to 3 in a deck. For a long time, though, it was just 1, and then it was really like Zap Poison for a real long time.
Yeah.
Again, using Fireball to remove the Musketeer, unfortunately not able to hit the tower because he wants to hit the bowler as well. And that signals defensive play. He wants to make sure that he's removing troops from the board as quickly as he can.
Great job using that Ice Golem to buy a little bit of time and let the bowler roll away on the other bowler. Marcel P really has got his micro on point in this game. Ooh. The question is, though, can he actually translate the damage on the tower? Right now, both of them are playing exceptional defense.
I think if one archer goes down, the other one lives, it should get enraged.
Ooh,
Oh, I think he knocked it out of the
actually tag
range. Oh, no, it was turned around. The bowler didn't
Yes.
lock on.
The bowler was aimed at the Giant. Big Zap will remove the skeletons, but dropping the Mega Minion makes sure that he will be able to take down the Giant. Ice Golem Explosion actually does take down the Musketeer finally, but another one gets added on the board with the
he's
board
starting to lose
taken
his
for
grip
it.
here.
And they all came down to not being able to kill that Musketeer. The Musketeer is actually the key card in this matchup. It doesn't get Fireball the way that Archers did. The reason why he plays Fireball in that deck is to deal with Archers. And when the Archers have been upgraded to Musketeer, it's a great metagame call by Fetty Wap. There's really no way to take that thing down unless you have a Lightning, and Marcel P opted to not have Lightning in his deck. He duplicated 4 different cards instead.
Removing the Musketeer is going to be really important for Marcel P. So far, he's been playing into the same line of play, but now he's played his bowler much earlier than he did previously, and we'll see how much that changes this push. Is able to put a second giant in front of the bowler to kind of extend its lifeline. How do you remove that Musketeer, however? He actually shoves it forward, but does not quite get the Mega Minion to tag on, and that Musketeer will actually get taken down by the Ice Golem.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, there's so many ways to do incidental damage in the deck that it's all about getting any damage on the Musketeer. I mean, literally any damage on the Musketeer, and the Fireball will kill it. So he just needs, an Ice Golem explosion, a Skeleton swing, a Mega Minion swing, an Archer arrow. But it's really hard to do that because of the Musketeer's long range and the propensity to play it far behind the Giant and against the wall where it's really hard to get to it.
We've just hit a very key moment in the game. The line of play is vastly different than what it was before. Removes the Musketeer with Fireball, Zap, really wants to make sure that that isn't a factor in the push. Lightning actually does not tag onto the tower, and a second Giant will be played. This could be Marcel P's run for the tower, and I think that the line of play is organized neatly enough that he might be able to do it, but Fetty Wap makes it to his next giant, so the first giant that Marcel P played, or rather the second one that he played, will actually perish across the river.
The river giants are just blocking like the last little bit of damage on all these things. Right as it looks like one player or the other is about to take over. Oh no, he missed. He says oops because he wanted to knock the Musketeer forward into the archers, not away from the archers.
wow.
Yeah, because if you knock them forward while they're stunned from the knockback, they can take the
Archers get shot.
and the Musketeer doesn't shoot back. Musketeer got one shot in, which, this game is so close that every little bit matters.
It might actually go to a draw. I mean, I think there's a world where Fetty Wap can lightning cycle Marcel P, but I don't know if that situation is going to come to fruition. Spends a Fireball, and he knows that the archers will remove the Musketeers, so that was not a mistake. Marcel P is being very calculated about how he's fighting troop for troop.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you're right, they might actually go to a draw partially because they spent the first minute of the game not playing anything.
Just hanging out.
I actually really think that Marcel P is playing out the situation very expertly. I think he knew that from the start of the match, he got off on the wrong foot.
Sure.
And to be able to concentrate on playing defense this long is actually quite astounding.
Oh, and the Musketeer goes down. I took one archer shot.
The bowler actually clears the skeletons, and this is one big opening for Marcel P. Finally gets a giant to get one swing on the tower, and look how hard he worked for that.
Only 20 seconds to go. The question is, can we stop it here? These river giants are doing such a good job at stopping the pushes that it's really hard for anyone to really get ahead.
All right, 10 seconds left. It does look like this is going to be going into a draw here in our second semifinals match against Marcel P and Fetty Wap. They give the good game. The match is over. So, per our rules, we are now going to be we're having a rematch here of this draw. They have to bring the same deck. So what's going to happen is if it goes into a draw again, it's going to be whoever has the lowest HP on their tower. Not combined, just the lowest single tower.
So for example,
HP.
In that last matchup, Marcel P would have lost because his left tower had lower health than Fetty Wap's left tower. So they're going to replay the draw. Game 2, they both know the other decks. They both know not just the decks, but the lines of play. I mean, they have worked out every which way of how to play Archer's Bowler, Tombstone, and all the different spots. Now they're going into the final game, the sudden death game, basically. And I don't know. It seemed like Marcel P was starting to get the better of it by the end, but Fetty Wap also did more damage past those initial successful pushes. Like he was getting it down there. This could even come down to opening hands.
Oh, the coin flip. The 50-50.
What's interesting is I actually think the opening hand in that last game was not favorable to Marcel P, and he purposefully played it into a draw because he knew that it would be tough. He would have to take some risks that I think Marcel P was not willing to take. If you ever watch Marcel P on stream, he's very calculated about the decisions he makes. And he's one of those players who identifies risks and avoids them and tries to figure out a methodical way to play past them, which is why he does things like not play at the start. And so I think that was actually a very conscious decision by Marcel P to not do that.
There it is. Marcel P actually starting off kind of against his personality here in our sudden death final matchup here in the semifinals between Marcel P and Fetty Wap.
Well, I think we saw that going heads up maybe wasn't going to work out, so maybe going for something along the lines of a split push might be slightly more effective. I'm not really sure.
I think he's aiming to have that boulder hit the Musketeer, and I believe he will try to fireball it.
Nice.
He's going to zap. Two boulders and a zap. There you go. Traded some tower health.
He's got a log now. He can probably log that tower to redirect. He doesn't have the elixir for it right now. Maybe next time.
He already spent the zap, so he couldn't zap away the skeletons.
Oh, right. He doesn't have log in this deck. You're right.
Interesting. Marcel P reached into the bank that is his tower health and gain no benefit from it. So he's going to be down 600 to start out this
He has a
game.
little more elixir here, though. Now he has a little bit of elixir advantage and got some damage on there. Yeah, so 1 elixir advantage, down by about 300. Slightly favors Fetty Wap, but this is anyone's game. But you're right, actually, in this game more than any other game,
Tower health is
every
huge.
point matters. You're
Now
right.
it's not. Now it's actually not the last hit point. It is just every single point of HP on a tower.
Whew. I think he's doing a really good job adapting to the Musk. I mean, that's really the key card. If Fetty Wap can defend those... Oh, no!
Oh, that was so close.
It was a little delayed, and now the bowler's not reaching it. Oh, no.
The Musketeer is going to be able to reach the bowler out of harm's way because it's so far
Right.
before the bridge.
He's got to recover pretty quickly here. Now, nicely, he's not going to take anything from the Mega Minion or that. Let's see if an Ice Golem at the river pops up to save the day. Actually, no, that thing's just going to die to the tower.
Is it?
It's going to get one shot.
Ooh, okay.
Oh. And again, this being the final one with the lowest HP tower taking it, or again, if they just win fair and square, every single point counts.
12 spectators in the game. We got a lot of people tuning in to see how this goes. Everyone in the clan's got their eyes on
No
this.
one has cheered yet?
Oh, there's been some cheers.
Okay. I was like, I don't see any confetti.
You're just so locked in on the action, I can tell.
That's right. Oh, there it is.
The
Okay.
big card that is a saving grace for Fetty Wap, I think, in this series is the Musketeer by far. A card that has just been so much less popular than it was in the days of Giant Poison. Man, that's tough. 957 while you only have done 500 to your opponent's tower. I think it's going to be tough to come back from this, but still remember that the game is actually playing out as normal. If Marcel P actually takes a tower down, he will still be the winner.
Right.
Nobody knows if it's actually going to be a draw. The bowler does big damage, and the fireball and
One.
the zap.
Oh, the bowler's locked on.
2.
It's time for him to catch
Oh,
up.
wow.
And he's got to use a zap to buy a little bit of time, but that tower's taking a lot of damage. It's got lead health, and now it's under lead health.
It's under 1-3-3-7.
Uh-oh.
But how do you stop this River Giant with the Musketeer tagged on? He's going to use the Ice Golem to stop the Mega Minion, and I think this might have been a big play. One more swing, no, the Mega Minion loses.
And it's not going to make it.
Oh!
Wow, he basically got away with it.
He got away with it. How do you keep the pressure
And the
up?
Tombstone's too far. Oh, no, it's not too
The
far. It's gonna
Tombstone
pull it.
will drag,
Okay.
but the fact that the bowler is behind, this Musketeer will be removed automatically by the bowler.
there it
Fireball
is.
hits the tower.
He's taking
Oh
it
my
down.
gosh.
Zap again.
Marcel P slowly but surely crawling his way back in. Now remember that there is still lightning in the deck.
Oh, you're right. You're right. There could be a lightning cycle here late.
Lightning, he could lightning that Tombstone away, and that would be big.
But he can't ever spend too much elixir. If he spends 6 elixir and, say, doesn't kill a tower, leaving himself wide open to a
And
counter
this
attack on
might
the
be
right side.
it.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
I mean, 6-11 is
Oh,
actually
wow.
not really enough to justify the lightning at that time.
And it can get fireballed. Oh, it actually walked the other way. You might just ignore it. Oh, no, he can fireball the Tombstone and the
Oh, the bowler gets
Musketeer.
placed. The skeletons get removed. The giant is
It's
running away.
going.
Musketeer
Go,
abandons
go,
its
go.
duty.
Whoa!
He's
The
gonna
Musketeer's
pour the
going there. The
fireball.
Musketeer's got to get a few shots. The Ice Golem blocks it. One punch.
Marcel P coming back
He
from
did
behind. What in the world? So close. For most of the game, he was getting punished and punished and punished. He decides to turn it on. That's the second victory for him. He's moving on to the finals for the third time.
In all my time
Whoa.
casting Clash Royale, there has only been one moment that I have considered to be really, really intriguing in terms of me for expert competitive play. That moment for me was watching Adam, a player on the top of the leaderboards, play Trifecta, play Hog
Right.
Rider. This moment for me is the second time where I actually feel like I'm watching some of the most elite of elite games.
It's crazy.
People say, like, oh, you can see it sometimes. You'll see complaints like, oh, it's just another giant bowler. This is boring.
Yeah.
There is no way you could call that match
That was
boring.
not boring.
Every single point of damage mattered. Every single placement was important. And really, we were saying like how unfortunate it was that the Musketeer couldn't be killed by Fireball was a big problem. But the Ice Golem actually saved the day for Marcel P so many times, allowing him to dictate the pace of combat, stopping the backlines from catching up, just killing the defenseless giant, and then holding off the other stuff. There were so many situations where just a little bit of damage made all the difference, a little bit of placement made the difference, and Marcel P's going on. He's got to play in the finals, but that felt like a finals match.
Yeah.
Look at
Absolutely
this.
incredible. Absolutely incredible. Marcel P makes that happen. And Ice Golem really I mean, the feature card there on the replay is the Golem itself, but really it's the Ice Golem, I think. The way that he utilized that 2 elixir card really split the tiniest difference between him and Fetty Wap. What an amazing match. My mind is blown. That was an excellent match.
Absolutely. So here, this was one of the key ones. The fire, he could have fireballed there, opted not to. Instead, drops Bowler. Bowler runs all the skeletons out, and the Musketeer walks away down the other lane.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: the Musketeer would have killed that tower very quickly, but the Ice Golem blocks and buys just a little bit of time for the Golem, the Giant, to finish the job.
You said now again, just a reminder: when a unit gets moved, it also gets reset with the targeting,
Yes,
correct?
but it was not hit by the Bowler. The Bowler rock missed the Musketeer. It was simply the
Giant
skeletons
walked
getting
away.
killed, and the Giant turned around. The Musketeer just went, oh, lost sight.
Never mind. I'm moving on. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket now as we have our 2 finalists. And like you said, Raheem, that felt like a finals match. Marcel P's got to do it again, though, against EPRU if he wants to claim that title. And EPRU is ready to play, 2-0ing every single opponent to this point.
Rainey is really excited because these are the 2 that he picked.
What I'm thinking about right now is just in terms of mental fatigue.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Marcel P has to step up again.
He has to step up, and EPRU, meanwhile, 2-0, has had a moment of time to sit back, relax, watch Marcel P struggle.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And then Marcel P has had to play a grueling 3-game series and now has to play a best of 5. That's one of the things about a player like Marcel P who considers all outcomes or attempts to and is always trying to play the mathematically right decision, willing to take the least risks possible.
Taxing on the brain.
That is very taxing, and to be able to need to do that now for a best of 5.
It's going to be tough.
Absolutely.
Stamina.
So we're buying some time by talking and looking at the decks, but also think about this. We keep mentioning that the deck matchups are really important here. There's going to be a Golem mirror match, exactly card for card. The 2 Golem decks are identical. So that match will come down to whoever's got the better mechanical skill. And I think that probably favors EPRU because we've just seen EPRU play out of his mind. Marcel P's like S tier, but EPRU's been crazy. The question though is, can this Minor Princess Zap Bait deck, which has never won, it's gotten to the finals a couple times, but it's never won
It's
a
gone
Coronation
second
Day.
place multiple times.
Can it get over the hump against these 2 decks that both have Zap and Log, Archers, Ice Golem, Mega Minion, like a lot of cards that are pretty decent against those sort of swarmy decks?
If you're EPRU, what deck do you think you're most comfortable with? Which one are you going to win twice with? Because again, they can pick one deck to win twice with. Best of 5.
I'd probably do Golem.
Okay.
Just feels like the best deck in the
I would
format.
do Golem, yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about Double
really
Deck.
well with it.
Well, here's the thing. The nice thing about Double Deck is it really tests your versatility and your experience with the deck. Even if, let's just pretend that Golem is the best deck in the format. I think it probably is right now. I haven't seen too much to convince me otherwise, right? It's the best deck. You still have to bring a second deck, and that deck has to beat Golem decks and be able to adapt against whatever the other alternate deck that comes out is.
Okay, here are our finals. Who is going to take home the $2,000 today? Will it be EPRU or Marcel P? Let us know who you think. This is crazy.
Marcel P might have been cursing that fireball in the last matchup, but he's probably real happy to have it now because it's something that counters Skeleton Army, Goblin Barrel, Minion Horde, even Princess. Close to the tower, yeah.
We have just had 4 cards cost 3 elixir played back to back to back. These guys are ping-ponging elixir right now. Finally, do we break out of the chain? 2 elixir traded for 8. How do you punish? Minion Horde Miner is
going
probably the
under.
best way.
Baby
I actually think now this is something that is interesting to think about. If that miner had been played on the bottom right corner of that tower,
Oh, wow.
the Ice Golem played to save.
But here's the thing, that was a lot of elixir that now you gotta deal with this thing. Oh, he doesn't have lightning in his hand. Or he does, but he doesn't have the elixir for it. He only had 5, now he has 6.
Oh,
It's a little late for that.
Yeah.
So he might just let this one go down. And unfortunately, not only did Marcel P take a black eye on his left tower, but he's also behind now. He lost the 8-3 trade right there.
And he keeps taking chip damage from this princess, and I actually think that's a great way to use a princess right now.
I mean, you played at the river, people are forced to respond, and the archers split as well.
Basically means that Mega Minion is not a troop that Marcel P can use in a push, because he has to cycle it out.
Right. Oof, and he's choosing to just take
he's just
damage.
taking 500.
And I guess he feels like it's a little too late for the punish. Like he's going to take the minor damage and say, all right, probably not going to be anything. Oh, Goblin Barrel comes
he's
down.
going to play on the left corner. Oh, he just plays it surround. Interesting. I thought it was going to be left corner.
able to get a little bit of an elixir advantage there back. Drops the Ice Golem up front. This is a pre-counter to the Inferno Tower. The Ice Golem locks on, absorbs most of the damage, and then freezes the thing, so it takes a little bit longer to heat up again. And buys time for the Lightning, which misses.
Oh, no! And he might be able to play Miner on the cycle. Actually, he played his minion horde on top of the golems, which means that most of the minions are actually dead. Still gonna play the Miner, plays it on the left corner, or on the left bottom corner. And actually,
River Golem?
for Miner minion horde, which corner of the tower you play your Miner on is incredibly important. Tries to punish the golem with the barrel, plays the mind game this time, but the log is very patient.
Yeah. That's the thing I've also noticing about log versus zap when dealing with the goblin barrels. It seems like the log is just so much better. It's so much
It's more
lighter.
of a catch-all. The only mind games you can play is on the back corner of the map. If you play it in front, the log will roll over and
Great
kill it
archers.
anyways.
The archers actually bought some time because one of them hit, and that bought a little bit of time. And the baby dragon, which is not getting locked on by the tower, clears out the princess. The skeletons are going to die to the golem. This is getting really close. This is a pretty serious looking push here, but we have 7 seconds left.
He's gonna race.
It's a base race. Oh, and he knocks it back with the miners locked on.
He needs another spell.
Oh, it works! Oh, my God! It's going! The RSLP, just as it hits, takes the first victory here in our finals. Best of 5. What is going on?
What's really interesting is for EPRU, he actually had a princess do 1,000+ damage on the right side tower.
Take it over.
You almost wonder if that princess would have been better suited shooting at the baby dragon instead, which ended up being the point of focus, right? We talk about splitting damage on towers, and so often you get into the situation where really in that game, doing damage to the right side tower was irrelevant. It was basically wasted resource.
Yeah. I mean, that was an example of two things we talked about a lot on this show. In double elixir time, no matter how far ahead you think you are,
You're not.
those golem decks are great.
You're not.
Golem decks can punish you in the last minute.
I was going to say, EPRU was doing a great job with defense with the Inferno Tower, and then all of a sudden, like, that didn't matter anymore. None of that mattered.
Well, credit to Marcel P for adapting. He started putting Ice Golem in front, and the very last push there, we saw there's a couple things going on. Minion Horde comes up, Baby Dragon comes down to fight the Minion Horde, Inferno Tower goes down, the Ice Golem's dead, Archers were played at the river, the Inferno Tower locks onto the first Archer, buying the Golem a little bit more time, and then the Lightning takes out the rest of it.
That was bananas.
Bananas! And also, it really proved that the last hit point is the only one that matters, because Marcel P was getting punished over and over and over again, but at the end, he only had, say, 200 health on his tower, but that was enough to survive and take that tower.
Wow.
Marcel P now up 1-0 against EPRU. Marcel P representing Red Alpha. EPRU staying with that Goblin Barrel deck.
I think something that EPRU needs to do is punish the Mega Minion drop in an attempt to punish EPRU's Princess drop. I think that's where he needs to look to invest more elixir into, is protecting his Princess.
Oh, Goblin's gonna blow up! Oh,
man,
look
what
at
a
that.
Ice Golem with the most recent buff to its death damage. Now a Zap plus Ice Golem is enough to kill Minion Horde. We saw that happen right there. Protected the bowler. Draws out an early Inferno Tower. I don't think EPRU is going to get punished for that simply because Golem decks, especially in single elixir time, are a little slow.
Marcel
sorry,
P's,
he's giant. You're right. I'm
bowler.
sorry. So maybe he can actually. He plays the giant up a little further in order to take advantage of that. And hopefully that thing's going to die.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Good timing. Good timing.
Log.
Oh, yep. Perfect timing.
Oh, Fireball.
Got some archers to back him up.
Princess is gonna splash the archers. Oh, it's still gonna die. He's gonna play Miner after this.
Yeah, do it. Miner.
And I think he should play it on
Doesn't
the
have the
bottom
elixir
right
for it. He
corner.
only has 2.
Oh, wow.
And I think the freeze effect plus the tower will be enough. He might take a little damage here. Oh, opts not to.
There's no zap for Goblin Barrel anymore.
Yeah, I think he might have just been better off taking, the 100 some odd damage.
Here it comes. He's gonna play Mind Games with the Goblin Barrel.
Log.
Plays it on front.
Oh.
Fireball is not a great answer. It's, well, the fact that the Miner was there kind of justified it a little bit.
Yeah, it was 6 elixir. I think maybe Marcel P wanted to switch because if he... I actually thought he might be more comfortable playing the Golem deck twice, but I think he got out by the hair of his chinny chin chin.
He's like,
and rather, is going to play the deck with 2 spells, a bowler, and archers in order to stop all these other tricks.
Now, Marcel P's final spell is lightning?
No, and he only has 2 spells.
Oh.
But he has bowler, archers, mega minion. I think the last card is a tombstone. That is kind of pointless in this matchup because all of the plays that EPRU is looking to make are actually on the sides of the board, not in the front.
Okay.
So the best thing is either to play the tombstone in front like that to buy a little time, or even you could play it behind your tower and let the trail of skeletons kind of provide a blocker to all that other stuff.
Opts not to spend Zap. He wants to save it for the push, wants to make sure he has an option for the Inferno Tower, and so he just took a lot of damage on the left side tower. And if this push gets defended against, I think that EPRU just successfully went under.
Absolutely. He played a good cycle.
Oh, and the princess.
Oh, and the bowler's going to knock that one away, but again, that tower's going to take a lot of damage, and he doesn't have lightning in this deck, only zap.
And the minion horde means that giant is not long for this world.
And that's what really struggles, that without the death damage, without the explosion, the extra golemites, Giant has a really hard time getting around. Oh no, that river giant might be the end of the game.
The princess is going
right
to end the game on the left. He has to play the archers to take down the princess, but now he has 2 archers in an irrelevant zone of the map.
So I think Marcel P lost that game with the last river giant, the one we just saw. A 5 elixir commitment at the river, 3 elixir skeleton army right after it, kills it really quickly, puts Marcel P behind in tempo, allowing EPRU to keep dictating the tempo of the game.
He plays bowler and zap to stop the goblin barrel, wants to make sure he takes no damage on that tower, but I think that might have been his downfall.
Oh, 2.
A lightning and a log, and a fireball's gonna do it.
All right, he's just going to try to cycle now. Puts Inferno Tower defensively.
Bowler's actually got to tag onto the tower, but still, he's going down the left side, and the tower is so healthy. And he's just cycling. He's just cycling for the fireball at this point. Yep. There's so much damage on the board, by the way.
There it is.
Horde and skeleton army.
So that's an interesting part, because I actually thought that deck would be better against it, but the truth is that giant bowler deck really, especially with no lightning, really could not get through that Inferno Tower consistently. I wonder if Marcel P switches back, and maybe if EPRU gets another win with the Goblin Barrel deck, then he just tries to win a Golem Mirror or something like that.
I like, Brendan, what you said is he used the zap, he tried to save the zap once, Marcel, for the Inferno Tower, so that it's supposed to be more effective, but by doing that, he then can't zap the Goblin Barrel and took so much damage.
He made a decision to ignore the Goblin Barrel. Yeah. Which I think was the wrong decision. I mean, there are times where you can, but it ended up being a push that just got eliminated by the defensive troops of EPRU, which is kind of the other mainstay of the deck, right? Is that you have very effective defensive cards. Skeleton Army, really great on defense. Minion Horde, really great on defense. And these cards are just, they will chew your push up, especially in combination with Inferno Tower.
You know what I didn't notice happen in that game, but we did see in some of the earlier matches? When there was an Inferno Tower, he was putting Ice Golem in front of the main Golem to absorb some time and freeze it. In that game, we didn't really see Ice Golem go in front of the Giant. I think that would have been really good, because the thing that kept killing the Giant was the Skeleton Army. Right. So the Ice Golem goes in front, absorbs the skeleton shots, blows up on all the skeletons, and then the Giant's a little bit closer, and maybe you can use a zap at that point.
All right. Another thing I want to also point out, in these Giant Bowler decks we're seeing as we're getting into our next game, 1-1 all tied up. Again, this is a best of 5 here in the finals. Both of these guys one step closer to $2,000 and that ticket to move on to the arena duels. So is when people choose to play either Bowler first behind their King Tower or then Giant first behind their King Tower, what would you suggest? Is there a difference? Does it end up being the same in the end?
Giant is going to lead to bigger, stronger pushes because you got your tank all the way in the back and whatever, but it also leaves you far more open to punishes. The nice thing about the Bowler is that if they can't really go down that lane because the Bowler will defend it, right? Whereas you just went down to 5 elixir behind your lane. Let's see how long they're going to stall again. Again, you're right. Maybe Marcel P just has a rule that he never ever plays first. Well, so if he comes up against anyone else who feels the same way,
here we go.
Yep.
Overtime. A draw. An 8-minute draw.
Well, someone played.
The only thing I've seen Marcel P willing to play was Ice Golem.
Yeah, in that last game.
Yeah.
He played it first, so we'll see here.
Yeah, and then he lost. So maybe he's like, I'm not doing it again.
We don't know actually which decks they're running here. Both of them.
Good luck.
They're actually tied 1-1, right? So we're kind of starting a best of 3 now with each win for each deck. So either person could switch around, play whatever.
While we're doing this, taking this time, guys, you could be like these players right now. Look at them, just sitting here, one step closer from $2,000. Go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com where you can sign up for our remaining Coronation days.
This is a legendary moment in Clash Royale history.
You know what this comes down to, though? And this is something is that these decks, I mean, defense is so good in Clash Royale.
Yes.
You can't just attack. And that's, I think, something that is almost to the detriment of competitive Clash Royale sometimes. Is I think you want to encourage people just to be able to jam out troops at the river and try to be able to take something, but they both know that defending is so powerful. If you ever make a mistake, you're
already down.
You're done.
I would actually argue
kind of what happened last time.
Yes, when it hits double elixir, I would argue that it's actually much safer to play your first card because you regain that elixir so quick that it's actually really difficult for your opponent to punish a 2 elixir drop.
Correct.
Almost impossible to punish a 1 elixir drop.
Here they go. They won double elixir time. Supercell, please give us a double elixir challenge.
There we go.
King's Cup challenge with double elixir. That'd be fun. Okay, we got Giant Bowler coming down the left side, and the Golem's gonna meet him.
EPRU has swapped up his decks.
Oh, so there's no Inferno Tower in this Golem deck. This is straight up tank on tank
Oh,
battles.
wow.
Woo!
Boink. Oh, and it did
Big
hit the
fireball.
It did end up hitting the Baby Dragon, but I think the Mega Minion at the river intercepted it.
Battleship Cruiser Galactic 7.
Poink. 3 hits. Doink. Oh, gotta be pretty happy with that. Now he's just gotta make sure he doesn't take damage on the counter push, but it looks like that Golem's gonna get real close.
Ooh, doesn't quite get the death damage onto the tower,
2
but
baby
double
dragons.
dragon, not
Oh,
in the
the
way
big-
that you have imagined it previously.
Get it. Mega Minion did not lock on.
Still, we're already in overtime, but
That's crazy.
EPRU was not able to do any damage to the tower. However, this is heavily favoring EPRU because he's playing the Golem deck in overtime now.
They might take their free draw, draw here in this first game, just only because there's only 3 minutes left in the match.
Yeah.
We'll see how much damage can pump
I think-
here.
I think this is smart here. Try to defend, try to kill
Oh,
those
that
baby
Golem
dragons.
is making it to the tower.
Wow.
Look how healthy it is, and the
So
Ice Golem is
strong.
tanking for it.
Oh, you're
This
right.
Golem is doing a ton of damage.
And a log's gonna come down and kill those archers, I think.
Oh, yikes.
I don't think that fireballing the tombstone was the right idea.
Yeah,
Man,
this
so
really hurts.
much
Look at how much
damage.
damage that
Oh,
is.
no.
There is actually a world where you can just lightning that tower down at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
Spells like, and he even has Mega Minion and Ice Golem coming up to his support.
Oh, give it the hug. Give it the hug.
Do it! Hug him! Hug him! Oh, just like that.
Yeah, Marcel P knows he needs to make something happen now, so he plays a River Giant with a bullet to help. But again, almost halfway defending this is probably the go-to option for EPRU. Let that Giant get a few swings and just play your Golem, play a log, play the Lightning, and the game's yours.
We see how unfortunate it is that the bowler gets turned
Oh,
around.
log
Like, it doesn't
missed.
do a lot of damage. We've actually seen a lot of success out of the giant Mega Minion at the river. I'm surprised we don't see a little more of that. He uses the lightning and
There it is.
overtime.
Wow,
Yeah.
we were thinking it was going into an overtime. EPRU is like, no, I'm putting on the NOS here, picking up game number 3 here
Yes.
in our best of 5. So he's got 2 wins. He now is 1 step closer. $2,000.
I'm actually really happy, despite the fact that these players are playing in the way that they are, because I think that these players are players who respect the competitive nature of the game, right? They know
how crucial each
how
place
crucial it is. They're now playing at that tip-top slight 0.1%.
Bobby Fischer.
Who won? Okay, so EPRU, did he win with his Goblin Barrel deck yet?
He did in the second game.
Okay.
So he's won one.
So what's
He
with
has
his
the
now?
option for
To do
either deck, which puts him in a really good strategic position because Marcel
Yeah.
P cannot predict what he's going to play.
Okay.
So I don't know.
What does Marcel P have to play?
Marcel P has the option of either.
Oh, okay.
Actually, both of them have the option of either here, so we're going into game 4.
Right.
EPRU has won once each with each deck, but because of the best of 5, he can win a second time with one of the 2
Yeah,
decks.
okay.
And with the 1 win each, what does Marcel
so-
P prepare for?
what is it-
Marcel P would prefer that one of these decks had won twice, because then he can pick the better
But
deck.
here's the thing, though. So since I would argue EPRU should bring the Golem just because you know Marcel P waits and waits and waits, and the closer
Yeah.
he gets to double elixir, the bigger
No, that
advantage you
would be
have.
Definitely
That's probably
smart.
correct.
Definitely smart.
And so then if you know that's going to happen, Marcel P should probably switch back to his Golem deck. Don't
Just-
play
yeah,
Giant
ju-
Bowler.
just-
Yeah.
just
Don't
try
do
to
it,
second
Marcel P.
win.
Don't do it.
All right.
Oh, and he switches to Goblin Barrel, maybe knowing that maybe taking advantage of that.
There's no more log. They're already, the log is off the table. Marcel P had been so disciplined about playing Mega Minion as his answer, and that might actually be the play that offsets the line of play enough that.
Splitting archers is so good though in this matchup because you have an archer on each side, you can defend against anything. A Goblin Barrel or Miner comes up either way, you've got some support.
It's interesting. It's actually back and forth because I don't think EPRU actually started with a Goblin Barrel either.
Oh, good call.
So the fact that there was only the log to answer the princess, I don't think EPRU. Yeah, I don't think EPRU could have really punished them for it.
I wonder if the Tombstone would be better
There it
here up
is.
front
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
because the Tombstone behind the tower would create a chain of skeletons that you either have to fireball before you attack, which prevents you from killing the archers,
interesting. Yeah.
or the Miner gets caught up on it sometimes.
I like that.
Oh, we got the Golem. Now we've already seen the Golem deck win against this deck, so we just got to do it again. But then he's got to win with that Giant Bowler deck if it happens. That game was so close the first time though.
Yeah. Gotta go back and watch that one here.
Ooh, and the Golem goes. He knows there's an Inferno Tower, so he's prepared for it. That Inferno Tower can't just be flopped down without a. Oh, and it's locked on the Baby Dragon.
gets it like a boss. Just flies right in the way of Ice Golem. I got you, bro.
And I don't think he actually will need to zap it or lightning it. I think he's just going to let it happen because the one archer supporting
Wow. Where's that B? Golemite's making it.
sends in the cavalry to try to get some damage on that tower. Oh, and it pulls it back. What a minor play.
Oh, it's like, why in the world
And
did
there's
he
no
do that?
log. There's no log in hand. These golem barrels are going to town.
Wow. Oh, that's a tower gone right there.
What
EPRU.
expert positioning on the minor.
That's why you like that
incredible.
goblin barrel.
That's why I love me some golem barrel. There are actually so many. We have not seen all the minor possibilities to be played, actually. And some of that one was particularly effective, and some of them I think would have been effective for EPRU in different situations as well.
Let's not write it off yet here because that tower is a lightning and a long way from dying no matter what.
And then we're already in double elixir, so Golem starts having a pretty good advantage. But both of these players.
Wow, look at the swarms!
You're gonna log, but Goblin Barrel can come out soon.
You're right.
And the minion horde's still
There it
alive.
is.
Whoa.
But when there's 2 towers activated,
There's
it's
that
actually
tombstone.
very hard to justify. Gets a few good pokes off.
All right, there's the
Oh,
lightning.
that's not.
He wants to defend. I think he's on the total defense play right now. So the reason why he does that is like, all right, I have an opportunity to spend 6 elixir and not to get immediately punished. So let me just get it out of my hand. Now I know I can log with 2 seconds left or whatever to put the game to overtime. Just don't die before then.
In this situation, almost exclusively EPRU must play Goblin Barrel with Minor, otherwise it will be incredibly ineffective.
The Ice Golem there is getting a good counter there. Why? Ooh, lightning again. Oh, because he had the log. I see what you're saying. He doesn't have the option to do it. Ice Golem, great prediction. EPRU makes a slight mistake by playing the exact same placement on his Minor twice in a row.
Princess is getting so close to splashing the tower.
Oh, not quite though. Golem Barrel out
I think
again.
log is
He's
cycled.
got log.
No, he
The
doesn't.
downside is Marcel P's deck can't cycle nearly as fast. He's doing the best he can.
The spells are really wearing away at
Center
Marcel
gold?
P.
No, can't.
Minor Fireball is really what's doing the majority of the damage right now. Everything else is just smoke in the mirrors.
Here's the thing too, EPRU is doing a good job not even allowing Marcel P to play the Golem, and now the Golem's out, so let's see if he can get punished for it.
Yeah, he's getting punished hard
Log?
right now. Log is gonna come down, but the minion is still doing a ton of damage.
Oh, EPRU! Just a fireball away from $2,000! Actually, it looks like the Princess did it, and that is gonna be a 3-1 victory here in the finals. Coronation Day number 10. We are crowning the champion of EPRU. Congratulations, sir.
Wow.
Marcel P, we'll see you again.
See you
Think about this.
not tomorrow, the next.
That was 2 of our most consistent performers. EPRU has made his 3rd
In a
top
row.
8
That
in a
was
row
intense.
and goes top 8, top 4, win. Marcel P has made more top 8s. He's made more finals than other people have made top 8. This is his 3rd time finishing second. Dude, he's made more money than our winners.
The winners, yeah.
You know, he's made more
500,
money than
500,
Gilgamesh,
500.
Swood, like all these other people who've won. He's made over like.
Yep, Marcel P, probably, I mean, again.
I mean, at least he's making a bunch
You
of
can't
money.
be super happy because you didn't win, but he is doing a fantastic job. He's doing very consistent
again,
work
buddy.
here. We'll see you again, I'm sure, but let's go ahead and pull the replay of our final match here at Coronation Day number 10. What a game, Goblin Barrel.
I'm so pleased with the competitive level of games that we saw today. I think Marcel P and EPRU definitely demonstrated some of the highest potential that the current meta in Clash Royale has to offer. There's so many just interesting interactions that were played through. I mean, take a look at this big golem push that EPRU put together in I believe the 2nd game or the 3rd game. Just really good timing on log, just in general playing cards effectively. And really it's just looking for those small little differences. Timing is so important at this level.
So do you think it was the cycling in that end game that got Marcel?
I mean, I think Marcel knew that at some point he was going to have to cast a golem, and he just did his best to defend, try to get one out. But when he did, EPRU read the game correctly,
"We gotta
went in
go
for
now."
the punish,
Yeah.
and really took it down there. And those, some of those, especially that last one we just saw, those. EPRU had a great advantage of knowing exactly what was in the cycle. I bet you, like in his head, all 8 cards in his opponent decks were like in order. So he knows exactly what's not in the hand right there. Yeah, we always see like, can you see 1 move ahead, 2 moves ahead? Well, he's seeing at least 4 moves ahead because he's getting the log out of the hand. And then when the log is out, then play Skeleton Army. Once the fireball's out, well now here comes the Minion Horde and you don't have something to play against it. And it was, Princess was the MVP, Minor was really good, and worth mentioning, both finalists ran Fireball to great effect after not really seeing Fireball for a while.
So there we are, Goblin Barrel now also being the first, now a victory for the Clash Royale North America. Ray's happy, he's retiring.
Let's take a look at this bracket. Walk us through the journey, the epic journey of EPRU that we saw today. Well, like, look at that.
Shout out to
nuts.
Marcel. He's the only person who even took a game off him.
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
Marcel P.
Yeah.
did it.
Well,
Again,
Middle Sky did.
these guys.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
These guys are the top right now. I mean, Marcel P. and EPRU both doing things I can't even dream of doing in these games. These are the top players, as you were saying, Rainey, in the tournament scene right now. So, fantastic plays. But yeah, what the story of the day? A quick recap for anyone who is just either tuning in now or wants a quick little refresher.
I think it's super appropriate that Marcel P happens to be playing the most understood meta decks right now, Giant Bowler and Golem Baby Dragon. And EPRU comes up with a Golem deck just to make sure that he has one deck that is solid, and then playing the Miner Cycle that I believe to be so powerful in the current meta, but yet to be proven not having won an actual Coronation Day, and he makes it happen.
Yeah.
And
I
really,
think
that to me is a story.
the skill cap on that deck is through the roof. Like, you cannot be, like, for example, I think I'm a good strategic player. I'm a good deck building player, but I'm not a real good mechanical player. Like, I'm not very precise. I don't have really great reaction times. I think that I can get away with playing something like Golem or Giant Bowler because they're much more about getting your things in order and getting a big push together. I could never in a million years win a tournament with that Goblin Barrel deck. That takes players whose skill, whose like mechanical skill is, next level, like just doing everything.
Predicting the future.
Yeah.
He literally just saw the future right
The
there.
tile he played that Miner on the Mega Minion was so
Yeah,
exact.
pulling it back. That was
It's not just
amazing.
placement, but it's also the timing, right? Because the Mega Minion is
Yeah.
constantly moving. You have to hit the right tile at the right time.
That was one of the most, next level plays that you're never gonna see.
Yeah.
You could watch 100 games of Clash Royale and not see something of that precise skill.
Well
done.
And EPRU, congratulations on winning, but we're also not gonna see you again.
That's right.
Yes.
That is it.
Bummer.
Until the arena battle.
Darn, he won $2,000.
sure he's fine with
He
that.
doesn't have to play
Too
through
bad.
that
Yeah.
whole day again. But he got $2,000 and now he has a chance to move on to the crown duels.
Woo!
And if you want to be like EPRU, go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com, sign up.
Yeah.
Because why not?
That's right. That was Coronation Day number 10. 6 more to go. Our next broadcast is going to be on Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And after that, Thursday. And again, then Sunday, Mondays also at 6 p.m. Those Thursdays, 8 o'clock p.m. We only have 6 more to go, guys. We are well past the halfway point. And it's been so cool. Again, just from the journey from the beginning, we've seen the Expo starting out where everyone has an Expo deck, and then a little bit more variety, and then total variety. Now we have the new Golem deck. That's the new, right? That's the new one. And now we see a Goblin Barrel coming in.
wins.
It's amazing to see what these players can do with just 8 cards in their hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any final thoughts now before we wrap it up for Coronation Day number 10?
It's almost Rainey's birthday.
It's almost my birthday.
That's why the Goblin Barrels won.
Yeah, that's right. Well
I
done.
think now the response in the meta to stop Goblin Barrel is going to be people bring 4 spells. Log and
all spell decks.
Zap
Just
was not enough.
complete
Here's the
So I'm
thing.
going to bring arrows, log, zap, fireball.
I ran an all spell deck and I lost against the trainer, so I don't think that's I don't think that's gonna happen.
Probably don't bring that.
I think Goblin Barrel's never actually truly going to become a consistent deck in the meta because it requires
that
like
skill?
generational talent to play it very,
Yeah.
very
I
well.
agree.
Yeah.
And woo, I mean, I'm glad it won. Like, I wish we on that board we could say, the Giant Bowler has won, the Golem. Every time a new deck wins, they
that'd
put
be
a little
cool.
plaque up on the wall.
We'll work on that. We'll hopefully work on that before the
But I
next
don't
show.
think we'll see another player like EPRU in the rest of the Coronation Days. That was incredible.
Crazy.
Well, congratulations to you, EPRU, taking home $2,000 and moving on. Well, that's going to do it here for us at Coronation Day number 10. On behalf of everyone here at NGE Studios in beautiful Burbank, California, this is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. That is Rumham. This is Rainey.
I'm Ella.
I have a legendary.
Have a most ridiculous night.
Good night. All right, Rumham.
Goblin Barrel one more time.
I need to build